We live in a land of bullshit artists. I hate to start it off on a Holy Week like that, but we live in the land of bullshit artists. I got to tell you, man. Appreciate each and every single one of you coming aboard here. Please hit that like button. Super chats go to the top. And here we are, once again, in the land of bullshit artists. And I'm gonna ask a favor. By the way, Nick, put some damn pants on in Phoenix. Jesus criminy, rolling around out there like you're some sort of kid. George Patton doesn't wear shorts. He wears pants. No leader wears shorts. They wear pants. Come on, man. You look like a 25-year-old frat guy. Anyway, so do me a favor. They're all out there in Phoenix, right? Well, I can't stand the bullshit any longer. Mike Vrabel was asked a question about A.J. Brown. We're always looking to improve our roster. And you get Howard Roseman, you know, he's an Eagle. I mean, can you be any more, like if you were playing a game of cards right now, I would know you had a full house. I would call you right now. I know you have. I know, and I'm even more convinced. I'm 100% convinced these two idiots have a deal. By the way, real quick, Les Snead confirmed that they were shopping the Eagles. We're shopping A.J. Brown. Come on, man. They've been looking for a deal to move A.J. Brown. Confirmed it. Les Snead's not bullshitting anybody. They were looking to move the guy. The general manager of the Rams. And you know why it fell through? It fell through because the Rams didn't want to surrender their pick and their first-round pick. That's why it fell through. There's no other reason. I know Les very well. It didn't fall through. It fell through because the Rams didn't want to give the one up. No other reason. Or Devontae Adams would be in Philly as part of a trade. Okay? And wait a minute, Jason. I'm being told every day that they're not moving the guy. And yet you're shopping the guy. Don't say that we knew this. What do you mean you knew this? If you look at anybody in here or listen to people, they're telling you they've never been moving the guy or trying to shop the guy. It's so untrue. It is so untrue, man. Stop with your bullshit. Everyone knows he's going to the New England Patriots. Everyone knows June 1st or 2nd, he's going to New England. And it's just, what is the compensation? That's it. He's out of here. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Totally out of here. I mean, do me a favor. Okay? Please. Just do this. Okay? Get this. Per D nobody. Les Snead said it at the owners' meeting that they were in a deal with the Eagles to move A.J. Brown, and it fell through. Who's D Gunn compared to Les Snead, the general manager of the Rams? Wrong. 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 Every day, same shit. You're starting to act like a little child. No, that's because you can't take it there, Marsh. That's because you can't take it. You're shopping your boy. Yes, sir, baby. Top 10 rosters in the National Football League. Patriots, right now, are getting ready to make a deal with the Philadelphia Eagles post-June 1. Sean Mannion, best coaching staffs in the NFC East. Got a little news here for you, too. And I got a question we're going to start out here in a minute. Okay? We're going to start this out here in a second here. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. Supers go to the top. Thank you. Okay? Now, what's next? Once AJ's gone, Sills, what's the next move? Is it Garrett? Could be. Could be. Absolutely. Could be. Absolutely. All right. So, I heard a cool comment today on Birds 365, and I looked it up, and then I actually contacted the NFL Players Association. The first time that the coaches with a current coaching staff that's not a new head coach and coaching staff, okay? The first time you could talk to a player is April 20th. That's the first time you get a chance to look at the playbook. And that's the first time you get a chance to talk to coaches. OTAs can begin. Your workouts can start. You can start having some interaction with your position coaches on April 20th. So, from April 20th to February 4th, that's 137 days. So you're telling me Sean Mannion is going to construct and get a playbook, and the players are going to take this playbook in basically 3.5 months, and they're going to start this new offense with a guy who's never called plays? I mean, make that make sense. Make that make sense. So, Dan, what you're saying is you expect the Eagles fully transparent with their strategy? That doesn't sound like Patton. That sounds like 2D chess. Hey, I know. I'm agreeing with you. It's bullshit. Deal's happening. 137 days you have to install this new offense, your so-called new offense, with a guy who's never installed an offense before. How do you think this is going to go? By the way, I'm going to get everybody in here and everybody on record. You think in 137 days, a guy who's never called plays and built a playbook before is going to have this offense installed, and the Eagle offense will be ranked what this year? Curious. You got 137 days to get this done, starting April 20th. Okay? Twiz. I'm keeping this piece of paper. Twiz. Elite. We're going to have receipts here. Twiz says elite. Sue says 34th. Well, what's that? What are they going to finish 7th in the Southeastern Conference East? I shine top 15. Poor says top 3. Okay. M. Reyes, give me a ranking. Jason, 12th. Okay. Let's see here. Kyle, 16th. You got 137 days. Marshall, top 10. Marshall says you're going to have a top 10 offense in 137 days. When last year you were 22nd. But the new guy who's never done anything is going to be top 10. Okay? Sue, 23rd. Senor, bottom 5. M. Reyes, 8th. Got him on the books. I cannot wait for this. So you got here. I saw something with O-line. 137 days for O-line to adjust to a new blocking scheme? Correct. Dude. Correct, Hollywood. Hollywood, ask yourself this. How do you know you even have the right personnel to run this new offense? I mean, how do you know that? Have you ever seen a guy who's never been a play caller put a playbook together and only have 3.5 months to get it done with a football team that's not healthy? Have you ever seen that? Wait a second. Here's a good one. You act like these guys haven't been playing ball the last 20 years. So, according to RC3, you could take Matthew Stafford, bring in an RPO offensive coach, and Matthew Stafford would run an RPO offense to the elite status of an RPO offense, knowing full well they don't have the personnel for RPO. But he thinks because they've been playing ball for a long time that they'll adapt. Under his notion, they don't build the offense. Don't you guys constantly tell me that Vic Fangio is looking for a certain type of defensive end to play in his scheme? But wait a minute, I'm not making sense? Okay. Of course I'm not, because he can't understand it. He thinks every single football player can play in every single system. Do you think that? So if a guy makes a new playbook with different styles of passing and blocking schemes, you think the guys that, because they've been playing, are going to adapt to that. Is that right? Is that what you think? Hurts has never been elite. Sounds like you're trying to No, I've seen it. I've seen that never happen. I'm asking you. I know because I've experienced watching it. How about this here? RC3. I'll make it very clear to everyone here. So, hey, Bob, let's do it simple here for folks. Bob, do you think a 34 personnel, a 3-4 defense, do you think a 3-4 defense and the personnel you have on a 3-4 defense, do you think that same personnel can play a 43? Yes or no? Do you think that those guys can play the same defense if you had a 34 defense, 3 D linemen, 4 linebackers, and if you decided to change to a 43, that those players, because of RC3's notion, those guys would be able to adapt? No way. No way. Get this. Yes, if coached right. Folks, that's not true. When you have 34 linebackers and you have 43 defensive linemen, it's not true. That never happens. You don't change the defense overnight and think you're going to go from a 3-4 to a 43. That's never happened. Same with an offense. So wait a minute. Hey, Marshall. So, do you believe that a zone blocking team, offensive line? Okay, wait a minute. Okay, Marsh. So do you think a zone blocking offensive line, a zone blocking, can all of a sudden run stretch plays with the same personnel? Can you run a stretch offense and stretching plays with the same offensive line that runs zone or man blocking? Where, God, were you taught football? Usually anyone who, doesn't anyone know what happened to Kevin Green? Went from playing a 34 defense to a 43 defense, wasn't the same in that system. Amen. Because he was a hybrid. Get this. Who says you got versatility on your offensive line? Oh, my God. This guy thinks these guys today on the Eagles or anybody can run. How about this? So if you put Jordan Davis in a 4-3 and put him in a 3 technique, do you think Jordan Davis would be a good 3 technique? Is that what you're saying? If he was a good 3 technique, he'd be on the field 3 downs. He wouldn't be on the field if he played in a 43. Because he can't play the 3. Oh my God. Dude, you know what? I should have known this. I think he's fucking around with me now, because that's like telling me, well then, okay, Marsh, why can't A.J. Brown play in the slot? Why can't A.J. Brown play in the slot? I'm not going to debate something that I know, because I was coached to this. I hear you, Hollywood. I'm talking to dopes here. Hey, Up Marsh, how come they can't coach AJ to play in the slot? AJ can, he doesn't? So in 4 years, AJ Brown, they haven't put him with 4 different coordinators. They don't put him in the slot because AJ Brown's not versatile. AJ Brown's not versatile. Well, wait a minute. He just sucks at it. So AJ Brown is not versatile, but everyone else in the O-line is versatile to be able to play in a different system, but AJ just sucks at it. Okay. But nobody else will. You got 137 days, folks, to figure this out. I would give this to you. How about this? I would give this to you if you had an experienced play caller and a better passing quarterback, that you could probably get this done, but you don't in either case. How in God's name are you going to install something when you still got about, 23 days before you can even talk to your coaches and before they can even give you a playbook? They can't even give you the playbook now. You know that? You know what I'm saying? No, I don't. I don't know what you're saying. On one hand, you said A.J. Brown sucks at being in the slot. And I asked you if you think the same offensive line that you have right now, who was banged up last year, is going to be able to run stretch plays, that what they're going to try to do in getting Saquon Barkley more open in the stretch instead of man blocking, you think these guys are going to be able to do that? I don't. Sills, share some knowledge with me. What kind of blocking does the O-line have to do? It's different from the Stout. Stout is more in your face and zone. Like here, I'll give you for instance. Here's what Jeff Stoutland offensive line does. I'm looking at when I have to make my slide step and I have to slip and scoop. Anything in that zone, it might be on the second level, it might be on the first level. I'm hitting it and I'm getting to outside shoulder. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create lanes for Barkley. Offensive linemen are trying to get to your outside shoulder all the time, unless it's a counter tray. And what they're doing is they're trying to get you stretched out, especially big guys like Davis and Carter. You want to keep running them. How do you tire guys out? Big fellas. Run them. Run them. Run the stretch. Run the stretch. Keep moving their feet. And what you're trying to do is create lanes in those zones blocking. When you run the stretch, he's trying to get outside, and then get this. Lane is going to have to turn it back in, and he's setting the edge, and you want to run up the numbers. And if you got a back like Barkley who can cut back, remember something, if you're cutting back into pursuit. And that's why you're trying to get to the outside shoulder. Guards, centers, and you're walling off, trying to create lanes to run up the middle. You got to have a lot of athletic. Hey, let me ask you this. How athletic do you think your offensive line was last year? Well, wait a minute. How athletic do you think your offensive line was last year inside? I don't think they were athletic at all. I don't think they were athletic at all last year. And by the way, when did these guys get hurt? When did Landon Dickerson get hurt? When did Cam get hurt? Anybody? They were injured. Well, what game did Landon get injured? What game was that? I don't remember. What game did he get hurt this year in? What game did Cam get hurt in? Oh, in the playoffs of 24. Okay. So the entire offseason, they never got healthy? They didn't practice. And you think they're going to get healthy this year. Is that right? Sills, is it impossible with this goalpost moving? What goalpost moving? I'm asking you a question. Do you think you can get a... Bro, it's not goalpost moving. It's called reality. You got 137 days from April 20th. The players haven't even seen the playbook yet. So that bullshit that Lane Johnson was talking about, he hasn't even seen the concepts yet. He hasn't even seen the plays. It's against the CBA and the collective bargaining agreement. He doesn't have any notion of that yet. So when he's talking bullshit. And on top of that, from that day, you have 3.5 months to install something with a guy who's never installed plays in his life. Is that right? That's a lot of optimism. That's a lot of optimism. There will be no screen game. The old line is still a mass unit. 26 will officially put us in the rebuild mode when the season's over. Lots of changes in 27. Okay? So why are the reports that Mendoza's been studying the Raiders playbook? Because it's bullshit. He's not even a property of the Raiders. How can a guy have the Raider fucking playbook when he's not even a property of the Raiders? That is not true. My God. You believe that? He is not a member of the NFL yet. And you're going to give an NFL playbook. Oh, okay. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, good. Yeah, you're not giving a playbook to a guy who's not a member of the NFL. Hey, here's the Raider playbook. So let me ask you this. And you know what would make that crazy? How do you know his agent doesn't take that playbook that he represents multiple players and gives it to somebody else? Like somebody on the Broncos. Fernando Mendoza's been given a Raider playbook. His agent gets the playbook and he gives it to one of his clients in Denver. I mean, who in their right mind really believes that? Again, you're going to hear a lot of BS right now that's not true. Seals, can you ask Randy Koss if he could still be a physical team and a finesse offense? We'll get him on for that. We will. Shea didn't call plays before the Eagles, but he had – okay. Let's see something here. Let's go here. Shane didn't. Shane was a coach for 12 years. My God. This guy's been a coach for 25 months. 25 months. He's been a coach. This is the same guy that told me last year that Kevin Petullo would be like it would be an easy transition. Yeah, okay. Shane Steichen. Okay, let me take a look at this. Colts. Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen was the offensive coordinator in San Diego in 2020. He was the offensive coordinator in Philly. So he was the OC, and then he became the OC with the Chargers in 2020. So that's bullshit. Steel's number one manual will be running Nick's scheme with a few tweaks. Believing all players are interchangeable is a Philly organization mantra. That's why they forced Jalen Hurts to pass over the RPO. Okay? Why are you killing the kid before his first game? What kid? What kid? Are you talking to coordinator? Because he has no right, and without a doubt, he is not qualified to be the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why. He is not qualified. That guy is not qualified to be the OC of the Philadelphia Eagles with a former Super Bowl MVP and a offense that has those names on the back of the jerseys. He is not qualified. That's why. What makes you qualified then? Okay, I'll show you qualified. Here. Let me see. Here, I'll give you one. I'll show you qualified. Let me show you qualified. And I'll do a guy who's not in the league that long. Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive assistant, 2008. Florida Tuskers of the old XF thing. I don't know what that was. UFL in 09. Offensive assistant in 2010. Tight ends coach from 11 to 13 with the Redskins. Offensive coordinator from 2014 to 2016. And the current head football coach of the Los Angeles Rams from 17, Sean McVay. That's qualified. That's qualified. To run the Dallas Cowboys defense? Yeah. Dallas Cowboys aren't a Super Bowl contending team, are they? Christian Parker would be a good candidate to be the D coordinator with the Jets. They're building a football team. They're in transition of building a team. When you're a quality football team and a contending Super Bowl team, you don't give fucking the keys to a guy who came out of college and have a training wheel session and on-the-job training. You think hey, the Eagles have an on-the-job trainer right now. This is on-the-job training. Wait a second. Hold on here. Let's go Andy Reid. Andy Reid. Here's Andy Reid's journey to becoming a head coach and play caller. 1982 graduate assistant, San Francisco State offensive line coach, 83 to 85. Northern Arizona offensive line coach, 86. UTEP O-line coach, 87 to 88. Missouri offensive line coach, 89 to 91. Green Bay Packers assistant O-line and tight ends coach from 92 to 96. quarterbacks coach and assistant head football coach from 1997 to 1998. So from 1982 until 1988, Andy Reid had built his resume up to get an opportunity to be a play caller that spanned almost 20 years to be a play caller and have his chance. Not 24 months. Not 24 months. I mean, I guess every single OC started in the league as an, oh, you're missing the point. This guy's not a coach. He's been a coach for 24 months. And you got 137 days to put the plays in, starting April 20th. Let's see. So is Nick qualified? Here, let's take a look at that. Nick Sirianni. Let's take a look at Nick's journey. Mount Union, DB's coach, 2004 to 5. Indiana UP, wide receiver coach, 06 to 08. Kansas City Chiefs, quality control coach. It's a gopher gig. Then he became assistant quarterbacks coach in 2010. Then he became the offensive quality control coach. He really wasn't a coach for a long time there until he became the wide receiver coach in 2012 in Kansas City. In San Diego, he became the offensive coach in 2013. Then the quarterback coach with Phillip Rivers in 14 and 15. Then wide receiver coach in 2016 to 17. Then he became the offensive coordinator from 2018 to 2020. So from 2020 and 2005, Nick Sirianni, to become a head football coach, had spent 16 years in the National Football League and was an offensive coordinator before he became the head coach. I would say his opportunity was warranted. 16 years? Your guy's 16 minutes in the league. Nobody wanted the job as they picked the undergrad. Were you qualified to be a radio host when you finally got the gig? That's not how I did it. I was first a producer. Then I was an on-air update guy. Then I was a fill-in guy. And then I got my job. Took me 5 years to do that. I didn't become an on-air guy right away. I produced. I was an update guy. Then I became an update guy in the News Talk KGO. And then in year 5, I got my first opportunity to become a host. So no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. Seals, more importantly, the Eagles were a mediocre organization when Andy took over. That's right. When you're a lesser football team and you want to give a kid a shot to become a coordinator, that makes sense because you're trying to grow together, see if the guy can. When you're a football team that you're expecting to be a Super Bowl team, on the job training, why? Who taught you to take any hot take, then turn it 360 to rile people up? My friend, all you have to do to rile people up is tell the truth. I'm not a hot take guy. When you tell the truth, it riles people up because you can't stand the truth. Always remember that. I don't have a list of hot takes. I don't have hot takes. I tell the truth. And that's what upsets people. People like to be lied to. You'd rather be lied to and told you how great it is. Well, when you tell people the truth, they get pissed off. That was Angelo, a.k.a. Angie, who taught Sills that. Well, he's on today, by the way, at 3:30. Oh, by the way, I didn't know your owner in Philadelphia, the owner of the Phillies, didn't give a shit about your your history. That Middleton guy doesn't give a shit about the history of the Philadelphia Phillies? Wow. And says you don't give a shit about it either. Okay. That's pretty rich. Owner of the Phillies doesn't give a shit about the history of the Phillies. And people like Kerry Callis and all that. He says you don't give a shit about it. Okay. Yeah. Angelo will he'll explain at 3:30. He said your boy Middleton doesn't give a shit about the history. You don't give a shit about it. Don't give a shit about it. That's not my take. That's your owner's take. Okay? Still, this is a long-term hire. Get this. Either Hurts will show signs. He can be the quarterback Lurie thinks he could be, or he's out. I think it was halfway I hire. Hold on, Twiz. You haven't had a long-term hire on offense with anybody except for Stoutland. What do you mean long-term hire? Dana, took Kellen Moore 1 year to become an OC. Kellen Moore, here, let's go to Kellen Moore and look at his journey. And his situation was different. Why? Very simple. Okay. So Kellen Moore was a coach, quarterback coach in 2018, and then became the quarterback offensive coordinator in 2019. He wasn't the play caller in Dallas. Folks, who was the play caller in Dallas in 2019? Who was the play caller in Dallas in 2019? Anybody know? Who was the play caller in 2019? And who called the plays? Who was the head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys in 2019? Okay. Jason Garrett was calling plays. It was his last year to prove that he could be the coach of that team, and he was a play caller. It's different because when you get into it, here's how it's different. Okay. Who do you think? Let's see here. I'll make a point. Man, you guys are dumb, some of you. Who's the OC right now in Kansas City? It's Eric Bieniemy. How many people in here believe Eric Bieniemy calls? Really? How many people do you believe that Eric Bieniemy calls the plays in Kansas City? Or here's another one. Who's the OC in LA with the Rams? Okay, Nate Shieldhaas. How many people believe that Nate Shieldhaas calls the plays? So wait, you believe that Eric Bieniemy calls the offensive plays over Andy Reid in Kansas City, and that Nate Shieldhaas calls the plays over Sean McVay in Los Angeles with the Rams? Those are clipboard holders. That's the difference. When you become an OC with a play calling head coach, you're not going to be a play caller in Green Bay. Here's another one. And of course, RC3 is as dumb as a box of rocks because how would he know? So wait a minute. Let's go, Let's go 49ers OC. I don't even know who these guys are. Okay, it's Clay Kubiak. How many people in here believe that Clay Kubiak calls plays over Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, how about this? Yeah, look it up. Not true. Tell me how it's different from Kellen Moore and Shane. Okay, he wasn't calling plays. Jason Garrett, and then Mike McCarthy became the play. Mike McCarthy has called play. I'm not debating this. Sales, you guys are dumb. Then proceeds to Google to see if. No. I wanted to see the progress. Hey, dude, I'm looking at how long they've been in the league. I know what they did. Most of the people that you're referencing were in the league a long time. Bro, you're not right on anything you say. You're not. Like ever. Like ever. Okay? Like ever. Bert should have given Moore Nick's job, and then you have play calling head coach. Get this. Here's the thing. Okay? Okay. You don't have to be a play caller when you have a play calling head coach. You're missing it, guy. If you got a play calling head coach, just because you're called the OC, doesn't mean you're calling plays. Do you believe that? Bro, do you think Eric Bieniemy's calling plays in Kansas City because he's the OC? Do you believe that? That Nate Shilsey or Shahasi, whatever his name is calling plays in Los Angeles? Because he's the OC? Not all the plays? I guarantee you none of the plays. He's calling none of the plays. You think because you're an OC... Here, let's do this one. Let's go OC of the Packers. Here's the new OC. Adam Stavanovich. You think he's calling plays in Green Bay or Matt LaFleur? Apples to oranges. When you have a head coach that's a play calling head coach, you're a fucking clipboard holder. You're not calling plays over Andy Reid or Kyle Shanahan or Matt LaFleur. You're not calling plays over those guys. Nobody in their right mind would think that. You're missing it by flipping the net. Mannion has the same resume Kellen Moore had. That's a fact, Sills. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's just take this, guys. Here, let's just go here. My God almighty. Okay. My God. I hate doing first grade shit here. Okay. 19. Okay. Let's go up here. 2019. Can't be any dumber, man. It just can't be any dumber. You can't. Bro, he was not the play caller. Michael Irvin will tell you he's not the play caller. He was never the play caller. Hey, That's like saying that Nick's not going to be involved in the play calling this year. Publicly, hey, the Eagles publicly stated you believe everything you hear from the organization. I got it now. I got it. Keep believing that. Hey, we're moving on because this is not going anywhere. Because you guys will believe anything that any NFL team tells you or a coach tells you, and you think that shit's the truth. You got to be out of your mind. Nobody believes that was in that building. Michael Irvin will tell you numerous times, Garrett was calling the plays. Flip-flopping. I'm not flip-flopping on shit. I'm holding to my guns. Get this. I never said Moore was the play caller. You can't read and you're stupid. Okay. I'm stupid? You're the one that fucking thinks that a pulling guard and a zone blocking guard could do the same shit. You talk about stupid? That's dumb, guy. Or you're talking about a 3-technique DT playing in a 34? That's stupid, dude. Or talking about a quarterback you think it's going to change overnight in a passing offense. That's stupid, dude. That's stupid. Nick is probably great at something. I just don't know what. One thing for sure is Nick's terrible play caller. No, Nick's not a terrible play caller. Nick is a terrible play caller with an RPO quarterback. Nick's probably a great play caller. Hey, do you think there's any coincidence that the quarterbacks that are Jalen Hurts' backups are the kind of coaches or kind of players that Nick Sirianni coached in the past? You don't see any. There's not one quarterback that's on your football team that resembles Jalen Hurts if that guy gets hurt. They'll change the entire offense to fit Nick, not what they're doing. They'll scrap that entire offense if Hurts gets hurt because it's easier for Nick to coach. That's why you got Andy Dalton, and that's why you got Tanner McKee. Think about this, Charles. If you hired people for Jalen Hurts, you tell me, what in God's name does Tanner McKee what in God's name does Tanner McKee and Andy Dalton have in common with Jalen Hurts? Name me one thing they have in common. What do they have in common? They play the quarterback position? They hired those guys for Nick. This offense is Nick. It's got nothing to do with Sean Mannion. This is Nick. And they're going to add some twists, but they're not. Okay? I don't give a shit what you think, Prince. With Phillips Rivers, dude, if Nick Sirianni had a quarterback like Phillip Rivers, I bet you Nick's a good play caller. I bet he's a great play caller. As a matter of fact, name me one quarterback he's ever coached like Jalen Hurts. Okay? No. You would assume I respect your takes this morning or this afternoon. You're inflating who you think you are because I'm not really upset with you. I just think you're stupid. And that meant I would have to have had respect for your takes, and I don't. So again, at the end of the day, look at the guys they hire. I'm playing catch up. Are you saying Moore was not the play caller? I'm saying Moore was not the play caller. By the way, when Kellen Moore got, okay, so wait a minute. Let me get this right. Kellen Moore had the number one passing offenses, if you're saying that, in Dallas. How come he didn't institute that same play calling passing offense in Philly? Because they had a running game? Well, wait a minute. If you have a prolific running game, doesn't that set up having a great offensive passing attack? How come you're 28th in passing and you're like third in rushing? How come you didn't install and have a great offensive balanced attack in Philly? How come you didn't have a balanced attack in Philly? Interested your take on that. How come he couldn't bring all those great-minded things he did in Dallas to Philly? Anybody? So teams are paying millions for clipboard holders. Shit, sign me up for $75,000. Save all team millions. No, you're right. I'm sure you're right that in Kansas City, that Eric Bieniemy's the play caller with Patrick Mahomes. I'm probably dead sure that Kyle Shanahan doesn't call the plays. I'm probably dead sure that Sean McVay doesn't call, or Matt LaFleur doesn't call the plays. I would bet you, according to your opinion, that those guys don't call plays. Okay. And that the OCs do. And yet, the gold in those hires, they're head coaching play callers. Doesn't matter who the OC is. Quarterback's got the same guy, whether you take their OC or not. The play caller is Andy Reid. They help build the game plan during the week. That's it. Correct. And they may have, depending on what their forte is, if he's a running back coach or if he's a wide receiver coach, like Anthony Lynn, probably running. If you're a wide receiver coach like Nick was, route concepts, they probably add a little more to that. I'll tell you what. What do you think? What do you think the biggest thing that Sean Mannion will bring to the table? What do you think? What do you think the biggest thing that Sean Mannion, on a positive note, will bring to the offense? Let's take a look at this. New idea. By the way, in 137 days. No clue. What do you think? You're getting there, Rico. Follow it up. Come on, Rico. You're almost there. That would be a disaster. You're almost there, Rico. There you go, Kyle. Use of the tight end. That's why I say that tight end guy from Oregon. Don't go to sleep on that, especially if you move off of AJ. And they draft somebody at that position there. The only thing that he really did well up in Green Bay was working with Tucker Kraft and getting Tucker Kraft involved in the offense. Tucker Kraft was the weapon up there. It was the tight end that was really, they're not running. Hey guys, see this guy right here? You're not running RPOs ever again. You're not running RPO. You could stop with that. RPOs are out. You think as Hurts gets older, you're going to start adding RPOs? What are you, psycho? They're not going to add that. Quarterback's not going to run. They're trying to develop the quarterback in the pocket now. This is the next evolution of Jalen Hurts. They're going to find out, and I agree. Anthony, RPO's over. I'm not running RPO. You didn't bring Sean Mannion in to run RPO. You brought him in to see if they can evolve Hurts into being a pocket guy. Okay? That's what they did. If you actually think that they're going to go and they're going to be in a position, okay? And they're going to be in a position where they're going to do this, you're out of your mind. Okay, I'm going to show you something else too. Okay. Let me show you something here. I'll make a point to you guys on how ridiculous. Listen. Okay. So I'm going to show you something here. You see this dumbass? Where is this guy? Liam Cohn? Okay. Let me show you something about Liam. I don't even want to read. I just saw the name Liam Cohn. I have no interest in reading anything except from that guy. Just keep hitting the algorithm, dude. Thank you. So here's Liam Cohn's resume. Okay. Liam Cohn became a wide receiver coach in 2018 to 2019. Then the assistant quarterback coach in 20. Then he was the offensive coordinator in 2022. He had been in coaching in the NFL since 2018. He got his first coordinating job in 2022, 9, 10, 11, 12. It took him 4 years as an assistant coach to become a coordinator and to get the opportunity to become an offensive coordinator with the Rams. Unfortunately, when he was the offensive coordinator with the Rams, he wasn't calling fucking plays with the Rams. The guy who was calling plays in 22 was Sean McVay. This guy thinks that Liam Cohn was calling plays over Sean McVay? Yeah, guy. Keep plugging away, kid. Keep plugging away. Keep plugging away. Good God. Look how that worked out. Look how that worked out for Russell Wilson. That's exactly correct. Russell Wilson was going to run the RPOs. They were not going to run the RPOs anymore. And once RPOs went away, what happened, Noah, to Russell Wilson? Okay? Look what happened. Look what happened with those things. Okay? Sills, the back channel in the NFL look at the name TNF show. Haha. What's this now? Sills, the back channel to the NFL just took the name. The NF show. Haha. Huh. Thank you. Look at that, Zander. National Football League is copying us. Good stuff, man. If Nick Foles can call plays right now, so can Sean Mannion. Who said Nick Foles could call plays? You think because you play in the NFL, you can call plays? Do you? How do you know that when a quarterback has a certain style of play and the way he plays, that's conducive to the guy he's going to teach? You think a quarterback coach or a quarterback play caller, how come when Kyle Shanahan, here's a comment for you guys. How come Kyle Shanahan couldn't coach Trey Lance? Depending on what the roster looks like and what the roster's set up for. You think Phillip Rivers could play in an RPO offensive group? I don't. How come Kyle Shanahan couldn't teach Trey Lance how to play? Anybody? Wrong type. According to Marshall, every coach and every player should fit in. Oh, wait. They gave up 3 once for him. Wasn't a good player. Oh. So there, it's not coaching. Well, what's Hurts' excuse? You've had bad coaches? Okay. Lance couldn't read defenses. So wait a minute. According to Marshall, if you got coaching, you should be able to coach everybody and everybody's style. How come he couldn't? The player wasn't good. Huh. How come Kyle only has one style at quarterback? You think there's anything to that? It contradicts everything you guys said. Says, I understand your take on the evolution of Hurts at 28 developing his skills in the pocket. Explain if Hurts doesn't run more how he will have a better season. I would say it's time to draft a quarterback. If you think that guy is going to get better in the pocket, let's see. I don't think that guy's ever been good in the pocket. You're not on any shit list. Nobody is. He's on a shit list. There's just certain people that are going to pay for my attention. Like this guy. He'll pay for my attention. Or we'll never go to him ever. Like ever. Shanahan and McVay need a disciplined quarterback who can work into their system. Quarterbacks like Lance work outside a system and are better at impromptu adjustments. Yes. Schoolyard football. That's right. Less guardrails. What happens when you have less guardrails, Bob? You know what happens when you have less guardrails? Okay? That means you have to move around. You have to move your feet. Okay? Right? So that means you have to move more. He has small spurts of pocket passing. Small spurts of pocket passing. Yes. Yes. By the way, say it again. Jalen's not a bad player, man. I've never said that. He's not a bad player. You don't have to be a great player to win a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold just showed you that. Shit, you don't even have to be. Jimmy Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl. Those guys aren't great players. Those guys are good players. Dude, Brad, how many people in here would think Brad Johnson's a great football player? Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. I mean, Brad Johnson could read defenses. He's a tough kid. He's a good football player. That guy won a Super Bowl. Still, less guardrails means you are unpredictable for both the opposing defense and your head coach. That's the killer secret to the sauce of that, too. That's right. Think about it. When Russell Wilson stopped running, his game left. Would you say the struggles with consistency in the pocket, but when it's time for a playoff run, he doesn't have to play great. You're covered by this. He doesn't play great in every playoff game. The talent has covered him in many of those playoff games. He significantly has had, here's his games. He did play great in the 22 NFC Championship game. He played great in the Super Bowl. Absolutely. He played, I thought, okay in the second Super Bowl. I don't think he was special, but he was good. The defense was special. And I thought he played good in the NFC title game in 24. The rest of those games, I don't think he was special in any one of them. Shit, there was a game he had 97 yards net passing. If Josh Allen has 97 yards net passing, they get beat by 50. Like to see what Harbaugh and McDaniels could do with Lance. He's a dual threat. I just don't think he has enough playing time. If you go back to his playing time when he was at North Dakota State, you have to Google his games at North Dakota State. He didn't have a lot of games at North Dakota State. Didn't Johnson win when Gruden switched from the Raiders to the Bucks? Bucks knew what Gannon was going to do all day. Absolutely. And plus, if you remember right, Bill Callahan became the head football coach of the Raiders, right? Well, They knew the plays, they knew the playbook, they knew defensively what they were doing. They had a real huge advantage in that ball game. So let me ask you something here, RC3. If your quarterback has been so hot, why are they changing? If he's great, why are they? Hey, let me ask you guys this. Do you think Andy Reid would change the offense ever in Kansas City? Or that Sean McVay would change the offense in Los Angeles? Or that Jim Harbaugh is going to change the offense? And wait a second. Get this. See this? Jim Harbaugh didn't change the offense one bit when they lost both tackles with the Chargers this year. Not one bit. They ran the same plays. Because the quarterback, they didn't change the offense. Not one bit they changed it. How come? So you think they're different? Andy Reid says the guy, Patrick Mahomes, has total autonomy in what he's going to do. Sales, did one of the Raiders O-linemen go? Yes. Unfortunately, he just passed away. Barrett Robbins is he's good people. I had a chance to know him, and he was good people. Yes, they did. By the way, they beat you and went as far as you. The style might be the same, but Andy's play calling is elite. Well, is it elite because he has Patrick Mahomes? Kyle Sills, you're going to lose, AJ, but you can compensate with 2 tight ends set with Goddard and Sadiq. I agree. And you do something that we're going to find out if your quarterback can never do. Throw across the middle of the field. Let me ask you something. Do you consider yourself an elite quarterback if you don't throw into the middle of the field? Do you consider yourself an elite quarterback? Yes or no? Do you consider yourself an elite guy when you don't threaten the middle of the field? You'd think. Well, then how come he doesn't? And how come his offenses in the passing game is ranked 28th every year? Especially the last 2 years, 28th and 25th. How come? If he can make every throw, why is the passing game horrible? And they know it. So let me get this right, RC. Let me see something here. I'll ask that question again, Kyle. How many times has the wide receivers on the Eagles had 2 1,000-yard years since A.J. Brown in the last 5 years has been here? 3? Okay, you have 3 times in the last 5 years where dual wide receivers went over 1,000 yards. And in the last 2 years since Barkley showed up, your passing game is 28th and 25th. Why? AJ checked out the last 2 years. Play calling, and now AJ's checked out the last 2 years. Never on your boy, huh? Well, how about this? Stop throwing to him. How come you don't make Devontae your number 1 in the last 2 years? Play calling. So here we have our excuses right now. Play calling and AJ checked out on why the passing game sucks. AJ checked out and play calling on why you're 28th and 25th. AJ gets paid $32 million a year and isn't happy. Wow, give me a break. Get some therapy. Quit and try and make that money. He'll make that $32 million anywhere else. If you don't think he goes to New England and has 1,500 yards, you're out of your mind. Why? He had 1,000 yards last year in the 25th ranked passing offense. Year before that, he had 1,000 yards in the 28th ranked passing offense. What would make you think, with a better passer, Drake May, that he wouldn't have a better passing performance, especially in the AFC East? You got the Jets and the Dolphins in that thing. You got horrible teams in that division. You're under the impression that he's going to be playing against top flight opponents in the AFC East. You don't think that guy's going to put up massive numbers in New England? Of course he is. The problem is that these problems with Jalen Hurts have been here. Yeah, I know. It's just now it's overly highlighted due to the fact that the lack of play calling now shows with the lack of development. Yeah, well, I'm not. That's a swagger. Swaggy, yes. They stunted his growth when they hired Kellen Moore. Brian Johnson was actually a better play caller, in my opinion, than Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore just went like this. They got lucky. Barkley and the O-line hit a rhythm, and they never looked back. They were a top-heavy team. They ran the ball, and they casually threw the ball. You had off games of passing game. Most of it was, and then when Barkley wasn't good, it all got exposed. Seals, why is it when AJ goes over 1,400 yards, it's AJ, but when AJ goes for 1,000, it's Jalen Hurts? Oh, no. I didn't say that's Jalen Hurts. That's Saquon Barkley. No. I've never said that's Jalen Hurts. The reason why the numbers have gone down the last 2 years is not Jalen Hurts. It's Nick Sirianni. It's style of play. I told you this after you came out of your bye. And in the first 2 games, I know some of you won't remember it, but we did. We told you they had a philosophical change and how they were going to approach games after that bye. And it's never left. Ever since that bye in 2024, Nick Sirianni has run the offense the same way. Passing numbers have suffered because they're going with the running game. Plain and simple. Passing numbers are down because the game and the team, like they did in 22, the team's not going through the air and through the passing game and through the RPO game. It's going through a run. Now they're going to try to run stretch plays, try to improve the run. They're not looking to improve the passing game. They're looking to improve the run game. And this is why AJ's aggravated. They didn't bring Sean Mannion in to improve the pass game. They brought him in to improve the run game. Get the run game going again. Like all of you say. You think the improvement of the team is going to be not the quarterback. It's going to be the health of the O-line. And once again, if you want to know Nick's philosophy, look at the backup quarterbacks they hired. They didn't bring in Malik Willis or a dual threat guy. You know who would have been a good guy to bring in as a backup to Hurts? Would have been Justin Fields. Somebody that runs around, somebody that kind of makes some passes and it resembles Hurts a little bit. No way. As a matter of fact, they really haven't brought in anybody ever that resembles the talent of Hurts. Like, never. Mariota was not an RPO guy. Seals, when AJ goes to New England and has 1,500 yards and the Jalenites will say, told you, Sil, it was the play calling. Well, yeah, Josh McDaniels is up there. Absolutely, it's the play calling too. Sean Mannion versus Josh McDaniels. It's night and day. It's like talking about the sun and the moon. Seals, Eagles run a bend but don't break defense and take what the defense gives you and don't hurt yourself offense. They want to run the ball, dude. They're going to try to do here. I'll make a prediction. Okay? Let me say this to you. I'm going to write some things down here. Angelo's going to join us in 9 minutes. (2026) wins. I'll give you mine. How many wins? And I'm going to give you some, not all of them, but I'm going to give you some of my bold predictions for 2026. What do you think? 2026. And let's see here. What else would I say? I didn't write these down before, so I'm only going to do a couple. I got one. Okay. 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 Let's see here. Okay. So my bold prediction for the Eagles this year on wins will be 8. Sean Mannion will be relieved of his play calling duties and given to Josh Grizzard by week 6. Jalix Hunt will have 8 sacks. Saquon Barkley will go for 900 yards. And Devontae Smith will go for 1,200. I'll do Hurts tomorrow and the rest of the guys. And I'm saving this. Mannion will be relieved by week 6, or you'll be screaming at him. Jalix Hunt will have 8 sacks. Barkley will have 900 yards rushing. Devontae will have 1,200 yards receiving. I got 8 wins. Sweat hurt. Who sweat? What made you go from 7 to 8 wins? The division. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm not ever going to holler for that in 26. You don't bench the guy. For what? Okay? Oh, let me guess. You're never going to have a losing season ever in the history of your franchise. Okay. He said Washington. I never said. I said Washington would win the division last year. That's a lie. I thought we didn't replace Sweat. It only took you 3 years. Either 10 or 11 wins or 6 or 7 wins. Angelo's going to join us in 5 minutes. Seals, why did Vic come back? Your thoughts? I think he got talked into it. I didn't predict. Listen what this guy just said. Seals thinking is if I keep predicting a losing season. I'll eventually have one. I've never predicted you to have a losing season. When? I said you'd win 11 games last year. In 2024, I said I never said you'd have a losing season. I didn't think you'd make it to the Super Bowl. I thought you'd get bounced in the opening round. In 23, I said you would implode. And you did. In 22, I said you'd make the Super Bowl. And you did. Since when? I think the opposite, man. We'll be legit, okay? You said 5 to 7 wins this upcoming season. I know, I upped it one. Yes, Sue, I know. This is my bold prediction here. 8 wins. If you get Myles Garrett, that changes. Not, I'm going to hang there. Even the Rams got down years. Tell you what, man. Hey, before I get Angelo Cataldi on here, boy, Angelo, man, boy, does Philadelphia miss this dude, man, because he shook the boots of everybody. He's got everybody pissed off at me over there now. W.I. Source. And he's got everybody aggravated, and I love it. This is what makes this dude great. But I first have to start out by saying this. I didn't know Middleton doesn't give a shit about the Philadelphia Eagles, or excuse me, the Philadelphia Phillies history. I didn't know he didn't give a shit about it. You know, he thinks you guys don't care about it. Do you guys know who Harry Callis is? So Todd Callis and I are dear friends. And you know one of the coolest things that used to happen when Harry used to come down to Clearwater? I used to get a chance. His kid introduces me to Harry Callis, who took over for John Facenda as the voice of the National Football League. Do you know this, guys? Harry Callis is like one of the greatest voices in the history of Major League Baseball. He's not just a dude calling games. He's like the guy in Detroit back in the day. He's like the cowboy Kurt Gowdy up in Boston calling Red Sox. He's like Milo Hamilton, who is a dear friend of my wife's and I. We love Milo Hamilton, who called Houston Astros and Atlanta Brave games. Do you know that's who this guy is? That's who Harry Callis is. And so your owner comes out going, fans of today, Philadelphia fans, Philly fans don't give a crap about the history of the team. So we're going to change the history of the team. And we're going to take one of the components that this legendary broadcaster and all of you grew up with. It'd be like taking a crap on Merrill Reese. Damn, dude. Really? Can we keep something sacred, please? Have a little bit of pride about what built your city? Or do you not care anymore? Holy cow. I saw this story and I saw Angelo today on his blog. And let me give you, before we bring him up here, let me give you the betrayal of Harry Callis. Oh yeah, the new guys. You guys know what you're doing, boy. I'll tell you, you sure do. Because you don't give a shit about anything when it comes to the fans of today. They don't care about you. I talk to you, not at you. This is terrible. Man. Without further ado, make sure you go to angelocataldi.com and see this story now. Damn, dude. The owner says that the Philadelphia Philly fans don't care about the history of the team and the Harry Callis story. Tell the folks what's going on here. And thank you, Angie.
Well, I'll tell you, Dan, it's not typical of John Middleton. Of the 4 owners in Philadelphia, pro sports teams, Middleton was by far the most bonded to the fans. He embodied them and his desire to win, spend money. He tried to do things that were in sync with his fan base, and he's got a great fan base. But what he did with this is so atypical. It blows my mind. Left field area, Harry the K's. It was a dining area. The whole area is kind of dedicated to Harry Callis. Just as a little further along, Ashburn Alley is where you can walk along behind the center field stands. So they honored the two most popular Phillies ever, more popular than Mike Schmidt, more popular than anybody. Where Harry Callis and Richie Ashburn, they were a tandem in the broadcast booth for over a generation, and they were brilliant. They were fantastic. And Harry Callis isn't just, although you did a great job of describing how great he was on the air, he was equally great off it. He was the most gracious, kind, funny, entertaining man you would ever meet. He never met a fan he didn't love. Treated them all great. And here we are. Apparently, John Middleton decided during the offseason that he needed another revenue stream. Because I even said to my wife last night, I said, what is it with these billionaires? They never think they have enough billions. Are they worried they're going to run out of money? They got to scam another deal with Ghost Energy. I don't even know what Ghost Energy is, but Ghost Energy bought where Harry the K's was, and now his big side up there. No more Harry the K's, it's Ghost Energy. So they go to Middleton, and they do ask him, what's going on here? And he went, you understand? After every Phillies win, we put up on the board Harry Callis singing High Hopes. That was his song, High Hopes. And we got a statue out in front. We're not ignoring Harry. We needed a little extra money, so we took away Harry the K's. Wow, that was all fine and well until Eileen Callis, the widow of Harry Callis, came forward. And that's where I stole the headline. She said, I consider this a betrayal. Harry, to understand Philadelphia sports, Dan.
Weren't they paying her too, Angelo? They were paying her.
She was making $20,000 a year, and we'll get it this final season. But it isn't about that. Harry Callis made a lot of money. She's not destitute. She didn't need the money. She's trying to defend the memory of her husband, who died 17 years ago in a broadcast booth right after the Phillies won the championship. The following year, April, in Washington, he got a heart attack and he passed away at 73, still young. And if you knew anything about Philadelphia sports, and John Middleton does, Harry Callis is a bigger name than anyone who has ever played in the uniform of the Philadelphia Phillies. Anyone. Yeah. If we had, in my last 10 years at WIP, we did all these internet polls. When it came to popularity, Harry Callis won every single one. Every one. Even cross sports. He was bigger than Merrill Reese. Yeah, how big Merrill Reese is. Yeah. Harry Krause is even bigger. And they just screwed him. And Eileen Callis called him on it. And then I did. And I went after him. And you can't do this. You can't disrespect Harry Callis. You can't do it. Now, 20 years ago, there would be enough of a media storm over this that something would happen. I don't know that anything's going on besides what I wrote. I don't know. I don't see it. I'm not seeing anything.
No.
I don't know what's happening in our city anymore. If we can't defend Harry Callis, there's nobody left to defend. He is as close to perfect as you could find in a sports figure in Philadelphia. And they screwed him.
Don't you agree, Angelo, that symbolism in sports, whether it's a picture, it's a guy, it's a moment,
you're right.
Anything that you have, that it matters to fans because, like your favorite song, your favorite movie, the reason we watch it is because it makes us feel great about something that we revere. And I think symbolism matters more in sports than any other thing, even politics. Even we have religion. When you look at certain statues like the Mona Lisa, or you look at a cross or whatever, symbolisms matter. And in sports, it's like a religion. And when you forget your history and you dump on it and you don't you don't respect it, that to me is a loss and a connection with your fan base and with people that love the Phillies. And for just to be this, oh, it's a new advertiser. I'm like, I think you lose a little bit of your soul a little bit as a city when you're not respecting what made the fan base so great.
Well, this addresses. I took the Philadelphia media to the woodshed, and thing I put on my blog the previous week, and this is an acid test already now, a big test, because this is egregious. There is no defense for this. You understand? A billionaire finding another revenue stream and pushing aside the memory of the most popular person in the history of your organization. It doesn't get more basic than that. It's the owner disrespecting a beloved figure in his franchise. And if nobody's going after John Middleton, I'm going to tell you why. Because he's John Middleton. And if you go after the owner of one of the franchises in Philadelphia now, it's all these things we've been talking about, Dan. The pressure, the business pressure, the behind the scenes push and shove. You want access to our players? Do you want to get in that locker room? Do you want us to treat you with respect? Well, you can't say anything bad about John Middleton. And I like John Middleton. He has invited me into his box. I know him. He was on my show a number of times. He was a great interview. But this is awful. And you can't let it happen. Accountability, Dan. When somebody does something stupid in sports in your city, it is the responsibility of the media to call them out on it. What are you talking about that's more important than screwing over Harry Kalas?
Do you think that the Phillies gave a directive to WIP not to hammer them? Do you think it goes down that far? Do you think it's that sinister?
I don't know that. I don't expect. I know one person that wouldn't follow it, and that's my partner, Rhea Yu. She wouldn't follow it. She knows enough that you have to maintain the integrity of your position, regardless of the pressure from a business. I don't think that's what happened. I think now they do it themselves, Dan. I think they're self-editing now. I think they're self-censoring. I think they're going, I don't want to mess with that. When's the last time anybody took a shot at Jeff Lurie? Right? He just had a debacle of a season with an offensive coordinator who ruined an entire year. He hasn't even shown his face yet. I haven't even heard him from the owners' meetings. Normally, he does some pontificating at the owners' meetings. Not yet. Haven't seen him yet. But you got to call him out. That's our job. That's what we do. You understand? That's why we're here. We're here so they can't run roughshod. We're here to represent the fans. Say something. Do something. It's Harry friggin' Kalas. You know how many people in our city were friends with Harry Kalas just because you couldn't be anything but his friend? I would go to a public event with him. Within 10 minutes, he's singing with the fans, high hopes, and he's buying drinks, and he's the life of the party, and he was great to everybody. And he also happened to be the greatest announcer we've ever had in our city. That I almost forgot. He's also the best we ever had. That ball is out of here. You know, people still say that.
Yeah. Yes.
And we just took his name off the stadium because we wanted to honor Ghost Energy and take a paycheck.
Man. All right. I got to ask you another question. I asked Howard Eskin this last week, and I saw the glazing going on over at WIP about David Yargoff. He's retiring, and any comments on that guy? And, he said he had the biggest impact of anybody over there at WIP in making it what it was.
He was the biggest boss. He was a guy that I didn't mind working. Notice I can never say anything truly complimentary because I hated every boss. So let me say it this way. Of all the bosses I had, the one I hated the least was the market manager, David Yageroff. All right? I was a handful.
I bet.
You could.
I bet. Hey,
He,
you think?
he supported us. There's a lot of things going on there. Today they laid off their Phillies reporter, Devin Caney. So there's still right now the business is in a bad place, and they're trying to cut corners and they're trying to cut budget wherever they can. Maybe they should call Ghost Energy. Maybe they could take down Eskin's name or my name and put up Ghost Energy instead. Maybe that'll get them $1 or $2. Look, no, I don't. Look, a lot of things are changing in radio. David, in the years that I worked with him, allowed me to say what I needed to say without intervention.
Okay.
And I don't think there's much more you have to do for a loudmouth talk show host like me than to give me the forum to express my opinion.
Did he protect you, though?
Hmm?
Did he protect you, though?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I left on my terms.
That's right.
I know for a fact they were taking a lot of heat from the teams for the stuff I was saying. But I had the advantage of having been there so long. I was there before all the people who were complaining about me, including Lurie. So I think, I give him credit. I'm sorry to see him go. But it's still really hard for me to ever say anything really complimentary about a boss. I think I might have an authority issue. I may need to see a therapist or something.
Oh, my God. Angelo, okay. Well, now we go to Jeffrey Lurie. So Jeffrey Lurie is now at the owners' meetings, and seems to me that there's now all of a sudden this new move towards getting either renovations to Lincoln Financial or building a brand new ballpark in Philadelphia. Because you know why? He says he wants a Super Bowl and, he wants all these things for the Eagle fans. Where are you on this here, giving Jeffrey Lurie a new ballpark? Would you be in favor of that?
No. If he wants to build it, go ahead. Sell a couple of
Nobody wants us to pay for it.
Of course he does. What do you think? You think a billionaire wants to pay for it? No. And if they tell you they're paying for it themselves, look at the fine print. They're not. Believe me when I tell you, they're getting something somewhere from somebody. That's why they're billionaires. They know how to win that game, the game of asset acquisition. But it's patently absurd, all right? He should be focused on one thing right now. He had the best roster in football last year, and they fell flat on their face in the first round because he hired somebody to be an offensive coordinator who did not know how to do his job. That should be, I'm a focused person. When I can identify what a problem is, you know what I do? I fix the damn problem. And I don't fix it by hiring another guy who never called plays before. Now you got a new issue, this Jeff Stoutland issue. This is mind-boggling, all right? So Lane Johnson loves Jeff Stoutland. You know why? Because Jeff Stoutland took a rookie named Lane Johnson and molded him into the best offensive lineman in the history of the Eagles. You can look up the stats. There are two different teams when he plays and when he doesn't. And made him the great player he was. And then Stoutland got shoved out the door at the end of last season. And Johnson's doing a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he goes, let me tell you, Jeff's not the offensive line coach anymore. We got this other guy who, by the way, stinks. All right. What's his name again? That guy can't.
Chris Cooper.
Cooper. Anyway.
He was let go by Minnesota just to be in.
Because they were giving up sacks. They gave up 60 sacks. Let's get him in here. He'll be great. And so they go. This is a mind-boggling story too. There. So Lane Johnson says he's not going to be the offensive line coach, but he'll still be involved. He'll still be around. So they go to Sirianni yesterday at the owners' meetings, and Sirianni, probably by accident, gives a bit of information out. He goes, well, we've kind of moved on. And we've got, the people we got now are very excited about. Basically, no. Just how, and then you got to go, well, yeah, now I think of it. in the middle of last season, he removed the run game responsibilities from Stoutland and handed them to Petullo and to himself. Two guys that we know for a matter of verifiable fact cannot call plays effectively in the NFL. They took that away from Stoutland. Then, now I'm actually looking at it then. I'm going, did they give Stoutland a little nudge out the door?
Of course,
Did they push him out?
A kick.
Oh, my God. Well, then they're even dumber than I thought they were. Because there was one guy, other than Vic Fangio, on that staff that you could establish conclusively was great at his job. It was Jeff Stoutland. Let's get him out of here. Let's bring in a guy who's been the 4 years with an awful offensive line, and will be way better. Yeah, this is logical. This makes sense. Dan, we're at the brink of disaster here with the Eagles. You know that, right?
I do.
You see that.
Oh, no.
You see that. There's not.
I'm on board. I'm on board with this.
Because what kind of draft Howie Roseman puts together.
I don't care.
Disaster is imminent now.
It is. Get this. The iceberg is seen.
Yeah.
And you don't have the rudders to move away from it.
Yes.
Here's something to your point. Do you know that according to the NFL Players Association, assistant coaches are not allowed to talk to players right now? So that means this new dude, Sean Mannion, his first opportunity will be April 20th to show the new playbook. So that thing that you talked about, Lane Johnson, about these concepts was complete bullshit because he hasn't seen the playbook yet.
Yeah.
The thing with Stoutland even made it even more so. Stoutland even said this, I have no role in this. And then Nick Sirianni yesterday confirmed it. How about this? Angelo, you have 137 days from April 20th until the start of the season to install this new coach's mentality with a guy who's been a coach for 25 months. And people in Philadelphia believe that offense is going to be hitting on all cylinders with a guy who's never had a playbook, made a playbook, and never called a play. Make that make sense to me.
No, it's not possible to make it sense, especially because I'm reading some tea leaves here now, Dan. I don't think there's any chance A.J. Brown is back.
No way.
I think he's gone. The way that Sirianni answered the question about A.J. Brown yesterday, he's a member of the team. Howie Roseman, he's a member of the team. Yeah.
Orchestrated.
Yeah, I got a roster. I could see that, right?
It was orchestrated.
Yeah. It's clearly he's going to end up with the Patriots. Brown's going to get traded to Patriots. They don't have to do it till June 1st because they don't want to face real major penalties with the cap. So they're going to wait till June 1st so they could string this out for another couple of months. But all right, good. Mannion, now let's call some plays, Mannion. Oh, I'm sorry. Your number one receiver now is Devontae Smith, who's like 5'9", 180 pounds. Good luck with that, all right? Because you just lost your number one target. This whole off season has defied logic. All of it has. From Stoutland to Mannion to what they're about to do with Brown, letting go of play. They lost Phillips. This has been a disaster of an offseason so far.
Where is Laurie in this then? I mean, in your opinion,
he's building the stadium. What do you got? He's got priorities. He's got to see if he can get a Super Bowl. Let's just say they did get the money for a new stadium. And let's just say he built.
Do you think they would?
I don't know. The city's not going to give him a nickel.
The state's not either.
If he thinks he's got a handout for the city,
Shapiro said they're not doing that.
No, they're not going to give him a penny. So, nor should they. The guy's a freaking billionaire. No, but you want a new stadium building. There's nothing wrong with the Link. The Link is a good stadium. Nothing wrong with it. He wants a Super Bowl. Even if he did, it's going to take, God, from all that time to get the money. 10 years, now you got a dome. He's in his 80s, Larry. Now you got to wait for the next Super Bowl. He's going to be like 90 by the time he could even hope to get a Super Bowl in Philadelphia. Please, there are more important things than one friggin' game one friggin' time, right? Who cares? You know, keep the stadium, focus on what's going on with your team right now. Because really, it's a hot mess and it's getting worse every friggin' day. And you can't see it. I know it's writing this, no one's saying it, but it's so obvious, Dan. There's no other way to look at it.
Your headline is my final word on our soft media. And the opening line was, I learned something new about myself last week. So small achievement when you're 75. I learned that I no longer have the appetite for public controversy, even though I thrived on it during my broadcasting career. And you even text me back that, hey, look, I'm not looking to shake the wheel anymore. But if you go and you start reading all this here, doesn't it get to a point now where you now realize, Angelo, all you did was speak your mind on topics. You weren't a hot take guy. You just saw something that you thought was not justice, like this Harry Callis thing, and you just spoke about it. And people don't like the truth being spoken to them. They'd rather have lies.
Well, when I said it went stomach, apparently I have a knack for it, getting in trouble.
Yes, apparently this thing's gone on a while now.
Dan, I'm not trying. The last thing in the world I need right now, nobody give me a nickel for any of this, all right? When I was making money for stirring up crap, sure. Hey, here's the check. Good. This is working out all right. No.
Hey, folks, not just the check. Go ahead, Angelo.
But anyway, the bottom line is I go on Eskin's podcast, and it's two old guys saying basically that these guys nowadays are a bunch of pussies. And hold on, I'm getting some work. They are. It's true. If you don't believe it, you're not paying attention. All right. If you were around in the 90s and the aughts, and even a little bit toward the early part of the 10s, you saw media coverage with balls. All right. And now,
no fear.
Those balls have been removed.
Raisins.
They just got lopped off. And you're not seeing that anymore. So, as long as I'm in my little corner, I'm just going to keep yelling and screaming. And if somebody hears me, fine. And if they don't, that's just as well. I don't need to be involved in any controversies.
Yeah, but Angelo, how do fans then today look at the coverage of teams and trust what they're saying? Is it because if I tell the lie so many times, people will buy it and they'll believe it and they don't have anybody to contradict it? Yeah. Is that where we are in today's media, in your opinion? That we don't really have any people challenging the standard and the people that are in it, the owners, the movers and shakers. To me, I thought it was our job when Jeffrey Lurie said something about a stadium. My first question would have been, who's paying for it? How much is it? That would have been my second one.
Of course. Yes. Look, for all the years I was on the air at Philadelphia, I did consider myself an expert at one thing, whether I was or not. And that was the fans, because I spent every day with them and I understood them. And we did all those pregame shows in the tent before the Eagle games. And I spent so much time with them. And so many of them were part of my show that I really thought I knew them. I don't think I'm an expert in that anymore, Dan. The people are reacting differently now.
They are.
Than they were even 5 years ago, toward the end of my time there.
They are.
And I don't know if they have been programmed, that if the bullying of the teams on the media, the suppressing that they've been able to accomplish, not with you, but with most of the outlets, has conditioned the fans now to expect less from the media. They don't expect what I wrote today about Harry Callis to be in a column in the Inquirer anymore, unless maybe Marcus Hayes wrote it. And I'm not even positive Marcus would have the same anger that I do with something like that. I don't know. But if you don't see it long enough and you don't hear it long enough, Dan, maybe you don't expect it anymore. Maybe that's where it's changed. Nobody's saying this stuff. I haven't seen anyone say anything about the way they're treating Stoutland. Nobody. I haven't seen anybody take a position on disrespecting Harry Callis.
Do you know, as soon as I say that Jeff Stoutland was fired, they
Yeah,
automatically say he left. And I use those lines
you're
for a
right.
reason, because you know
Yep.
why?
Yep.
I want to see the fans' response and how they respond and what they
Yep.
say. And when I hear more people doing that and saying that, I know that they're being conditioned by the organization or by the
Yeah.
media today. You
Mm.
know, you know the trick, Angelo. You say something, you want to see the response. It's the response on how you hear the fans saying. Like, I'll say this: AJ Brown is gone. AJ
Yeah.
Brown doesn't want to be here any longer because of the coach and the style of play. I hear people in Philadelphia defending wanting to keep a guy who doesn't want to be a volunteer instead of being a hostage. And I don't get that. I mean, I don't want hostages. I want volunteers on my team.
It's different. But I think the moment of demarcation was when those fans stood up and gave Trey Turner a standing ovation a year and a half ago. I think that was the moment. That was the moment when Philadelphia, as a demanding, almost overbearing fan base, suddenly became docile. I think that was the moment. I'm not feeling it anymore. I still get emails, but they're usually from, the dinosaur family that I'm in now.
How about this?
Older people.
You know what? I get accused now that my style is old and that nobody does this anymore. And I'm like, well, guess what? If you think calling people out and calling people on the carpet and holding their feet to the fire is old, well, then guess what? Angelo's right. You are a pussy, because to me, you got to hold people's feet to the fire when you hold anybody's feet to the fire. If they were holding your rent, if they were not giving you back, when you hold people to the fire when you think something's not right. That's not an old way of doing things. That's called the right way of doing things. I don't get it. Angelo, for me, do you think the fans have changed more? The media have changed more in Philly?
Oh, the media. If it happened, the media helped to change the fans because they became more docile and the fans expected less.
So they've conditioned
them. But with stuff like this Harry Callis thing happened 20 years ago, if you'd have done this to Harry Callis, right? Stan Hockman, Mark Wicker, the guys with big voices. Bill Lyon, with the beautiful way he would write, would tell you that Bill Lyon was very close to Harry. All of us were. They wouldn't let it happen. And now they're going, oh, yeah. I read today, and Philly.com, Dan, the guy that covers the Flyers, I'm not going to say his name, but the guy that covers the Flyers goes, whatever happens now, they're 2 points out of a playoff spot with like 9 games to go. Whatever happens now, it's already a win for the Flyers. Dan, they haven't won a Stanley Cup in 51 years. They haven't been in the playoffs.
They haven't been relevant.
They haven't been relevant in a generation. And the guy covering them goes, it's all gravy from here. And you go, I almost looked up the guy's name and drove to his house and went, what the hell is wrong with you?
What do you make of the Inquirer?
What city you work in? What is wrong with you?
No way. No way they know this. What do you make of the Inquirer? We talk about IP. What about print media today and how they cover teams? What do you make of how their angles are? Because back in the day, like you said, with all the columnists, Colin and all them guys and all the people like that started, hell, man, all the people that were on the air, didn't they start at the Philadelphia Inquirer, most of them?
A lot of our people did. But they wouldn't get hired by radio now. Not that radio is looking for the kind of screaming and yelling that we did when I was there with Missinelli and Mac now and Howard and all those great broadcasters. It's just, you know what? I think when you're my age, I look at somebody like you who's the next generation and he's still doing it that way. I go, bravo, there is still a place for honesty in sports talk. Because what you're doing every day is not what they're doing, Dan.
No.
You're coming on every day and you're giving your honest opinion. And if he doesn't like it or he doesn't like it, tough shit. That's my opinion. All right. Now I'm watching these guys prep a show. And they're going, well, would you Harry the cat? You can't do that to Harry Callis, right? Oh, do I even need to get Middleton all pissed off at me? Do I need them to be calling my bosses and telling them that I'm out of line?
But that never even to like Howard and you, that never entered.
Oh,
that never entered. Look, my prep, here's my prep.
look at that. Wow.
Okay. That never entered my prep. And this is how I prep. You know what I do, Angelo? I write down little cliff notes.
Right.
I don't write down takes. I write down, like, I'll go like this. Sirianni is a bozo by hiring a training wheels OC.
Yeah.
Or I'll sit here and I'll go, so I guess now that Middleton doesn't respect the history of the Phillies. So that's the kind of stuff I write down. It's not drawn out scripts on what I do. And those are cliff notes.
This is a big
never
moment.
came into my mind to sit there and go, what do you think the Phillies are going to think?
Dan, you don't understand. This is a big moment for me. As you showed me those written notes, I realized I'm more modern than you are. The last 5 years, I used the laptop for notes. You're still writing them down.
I have to.
I'm high tech. Who knew?
That's right.
I have reached the computer age before Dan Sileo.
That's right. Because you know why? The modern day is not going to ruin me at all in any way whatsoever.
Really not.
It is just not. It's just not because, again, Angelo, do you see an out for this? Do you see it getting any better when it comes to the media where, again, you know, they don't really speak to the fans anymore. They speak to do you agree with this, Angelo? The people on the air now, especially at IP, they don't speak to the fans. They speak to the teams.
It seems that way, yes. And to the players. They want to placate the players, too, because they might see them in a locker room. The next test for Philadelphia, a lot of these cities are gone. If you're in the Midwest, you're never going to get an honest opinion. They're all a bunch of pussies. They really are. But they've been that way a long time. All right. But Philadelphia, New York, we still pretty tough at times. All right.
Boston.
What has helped the teams in the last 5 years in Philadelphia is the two most important was the Phillies and the Eagles have been successful. They've been in the playoffs every year. They've been there. If the Phillies keep playing the way they've started this season, there will suddenly be at some point you have to resonate with your customers. At some point they're going to go, well, we're going to have to rip somebody here. They suck. They can't hit. Let's get Thompson. Yeah, he stinks anyway. Let's get him out.
Thrown out yesterday too, by the way, just to keep scores.
He got thrown out because he wanted the umpire. They called the third out, and he wanted the umpire to call the base runner out who stopped running after the call of the third out. He wanted them to call him out because they eventually tagged. And he went, well, no, they had called the third out. He thought the inning was over. You can't have an out after the out when the out was not an out. He's sitting there going, wow, maybe he just doesn't want to watch this since it's already 4-0. But he is off. Anyway, he bundles up all his stuff, right? He's got all these computer printouts. You know, they got 40 people now in the analytics department. 40? They got 40 people there. 40 of these nerds running around like cockroaches in a condemned building. And, and he gathers all these things and he hands them over to Don Mattingly, the bench coach. And Mattingly looks down at him. What am I going to do with this crap?
Yeah. Oh, my
it's
God.
Awful. It is. Things are not great in Philly right now. I'll tell you this, Dan, although I'm not sure you would know it if you just read the media or listened to the media. I'm not sure.
No, I know what I do is I keep an eye on those guys because you know what I do? I prep my show based on what they're not doing.
Right.
And so to me, that's an easy putt, Angelo. All I got to do is tune on one of those white noise shows and it sounds the same to me. So I just know what okay. So they're not talking about the OC. They're not talking about the bozo clown. And by the way, Angelo, an Italian guy who's the head football coach of the Philadelphia Eagles should not be in shorts.
Oh,
George
geez.
Patton is not
Shorts
in
now?
shorts. He's out
Oh.
in Phoenix in shorts. And I'm like, you know
Oh.
what? Leaders aren't in shorts. And I'm like, anyway. So I'm looking at the guy and I'm like, anything that they're doing or not doing, I know what to do. So I loved your blog. Make sure you check it out, AngeloCataldi.com. Angelo, any parting thoughts as you go out here about the
I
media?
actually do today. Little moral of the story. When you're in a sports city that disrespects true greats like Harry Callis and Jeff Stoutland, when you are not showing them the respect, shame on you and shame on the people that enable it to happen. That's my message of the day. No charge.
That's right.
No charge.
Well, I'll tell you what, Angelo, it's a privilege to have you on. Always, you know this. And so, AngeloCataldi.com. He's the last one in Philadelphia that's telling him.
You are.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Angelo. And
You're working. I ain't working.
And listen, I try to carry on, but you know what I got now? I've got the people in Philadelphia right now that fight me every single day telling me how great Nick Sirianni is and how Jeff Stoutland wasn't fired or how this new OC is going to be a godsend. He's the next Sean McVay. That's what they're calling a guy who's been a coach for 25 months and I got 137 days. You got people that come onto the program and actually say that this guy's going to be the next savant offensive coordinator. And I'm like, yeah, okay, right. All right. So, Angelo.
Even if he were, he's standing next to an idiot. So it's not going to work anyway. I'm warning you.
AngeloCataldi.com. Thank you so much, Angelo.
See you, Dan.
You got it. Angelo Cataldi, man. Keep defending idiots, dude. Go ahead. Not a problem. Okay? Keep defending idiots. Go right ahead, man. I'm not the one that looks like that. Get this. Angelo said WIP just laid off Phillies reporter Devin Caney. She also took over as Philly sideline reporter for Howard. I don't see anything published. Huh? Rhea probably told him. So here. Interesting. So let's do this. Thank you, Joe Krause. JAKIB. Is it true? Is it true? Devin has been laid off. Let's go here. There we go. Is it true Devin Caney has been laid off as the Phillies sideline person? WIP. Boom. Interesting. May have had a little breaking news there. How you doing? So is it true? You see how we phrase it there, Big Joe? JAKIB Sports. Is it true Devin Caney has been laid off as the Philly sideline person? Kidoki. All they got to do is retort, yay or nay. Yay or nay. Just a question. Dan Sileo, can we at least agree that we don't know? Yes, yes, yes. I will agree to this. Yes. Leaders don't wear shorts, jackass. When I shook Will Chamberlain's hands, I was 10 years old, and his hand went, dude, well, one of the greatest. That's a great meet, by the way. Wouldn't you agree that Devin Caney has better at modeling? Yeah, no. You know what? Not me. I don't care. I don't care what she models. She could jump out of a cake as far as I'm concerned. Could care less. Well, was he playing golf? Yeah, I don't care if she jumps out of a cake. Doesn't matter what Jalen Hurts does. Dan Sileo won't appreciate him. I never told you he sucked. Do you wear shorts at night? I'm not a leader on a football team. I'm not the commander in charge. I'm just Big Sills. There you go. Yes. Well, my daughter's not here. I walk around with no drawers anyway. I'm kidding. I do not. My wife would never allow that. Yes, that's not happening. My wife likes to eat her meals, so yes, no, that would not happen. Whether we agree with your takes or not, definitely the best sports show. You or that chat can freely give your opinions. It's real sports talk. That's right. Even dumbasses in here get an opportunity to call me a dumbass. And I welcome that. Try that on WIP. You ain't getting on. Next segment, we'll discuss if men should be Eagle cheerleaders. No. Yeah, no, I don't know how that works. No. Okay, no. Thank you. Thank you, Sue. I know you've been here all the time. She says, have you seen the number from McCoy's Pro Day? I have not yet. Let's see here. Did they respond? Oh. Did we Hey, Joe Krause just put that out there, or Joe Krause just said on a nice text. Is that news? Did Angelo just give us a little bit behind the scenes? So Rhea Hughes probably told Angelo, and Angelo just conveyed that. The Silsigator, like antagonizer, like agitator. Not an agitator. I don't agitate people. So the rule is Eagle players just can't date Eagle cheerleaders, but every other team's cheerleaders are fair game. Go get it, Coop. Coop, watch out. Should be an insider. Oh, absolutely. You don't think Jerry Jones sent that Dallas Cowboy cheerleader? Psst. Hazel, come here. You know, my boy, that kid Cooper DeJean. I want you to pollute his brain. I want to know everything he knows. So when you guys are doing all kinds of freaky and freakazoid things, okay, I want you to tell me what's going on. Get the playbook. It's the inside coop. That's right. Oh, by the way, I'll do this with Z too. So my top 10 rosters in the NFC pre-NFL draft. I wrote these rosters down because I heard McMullen say the other day, nobody's good right now. And nobody has to play a game. Okay, well then I'll go best rosters right now. And for the record, I think your offense is overrated. It's overrated. I think the players on offense right now, and I'm not talking even about Jalen Hurts. I think they're overrated. The dudes that I don't think are overrated are Devontae, Hurts. I don't think Jalen's overrated. Jalen's who I've said he was the last 4 years. He's not overrated. I don't think Mulata's overrated. Here. Let's do this. I'll ask you. Let's go here. Let's go with the offense. I told you who I thought wasn't. How many people in here believe that Saquon Barkley's overrated? Yes or no? Me, I think he had a 1 year in his career. And I'd like to see him come back and have a great year. Let's see what he does. Is Saquon Barkley overrated? Yes. No. No. Yes. Okay. No. Yes. What are my expectations? That's a great question, KCA. No. No. I think that's a better question. What are your expectations of Saquon Barkley this year? Then we'll find out if he is overrated. What are your expectations? So Sukos, I want to see what he does this year. So 1,400 yards. Okay? 1,400. Well, 1,200 yards. 1,200 yards? $1,050? That's a dude. 1,500. There you go. 500 receiving. So, Forrest, you think he's going to have 2,000 yards from scrimmage this year? And Reyes thinks he's going to have 1,400 yards. I think that guy's going to land on 900 yards. Okay. Okay. So, if Reyes, if that guy doesn't hit 1,400 yards, he's overrated, right? Correct? If he doesn't hit, how about this, Riot? If he lands on 1,200 yards, Barkley's overrated, right? That's not overrated. 1,200, 350 receiving. Are you under the impression he's going to get healthier? He's not Derrick Henry. If he doesn't hit 1,500 yards, he is. Okay? All right. I think that's fair. So you got the bar set for 1,500 yards. Okay. So if he doesn't get 1,600 yards this year, he's overrated. You guys have lofty goals. Okay. Keep them coming. Hey, I'd like you to go higher. If you want 1,800 yards, have at it. I want to know what your benchmark is and your bar for him. And so your bar is between 14 and 1,600 yards for him this year. Is that right? No. 1,200. He did that this year. He had 1,140 or something like that. 1,150. Saquon Barkley wasn't special at 1,150. So you're saying between 1,400 and 1,600 yards is your expectations on Saquon Barkley. Okay? If he gets 800 yards but has 12 TDs, I'll take it. And he got 300 or 400 yards receiving? Yeah, That'd be a good year. 1,600. 14 to 16. Okay. There's your benchmark. Okay, with this new offense, what's your new expectations with Jalen Hurts this coming year? With the new offense? 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns? Or the same? 32 and 20. 32 and 25. Is Jalen more likely to be at 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns or 3,225 touchdowns? What's he more likely to be under this new offense that you've got to instill in the next 137 days? Okay, 38. I don't mind that. 38.50 and 28. That'd be a pretty good improvement. So if teams are stacking the box on him and loading up the box so he's not the reason he wrecked the game, that's what makes him a value to the team. What happened last year? What was his value last year? What happened last year, Prince? Oh, that's right. Bad play calling and injuries. I got it. 35 and 30 touchdowns. 30 TD passes. I see 4K. Okay, so wait a minute here. What's you're expecting between 35 and 4,000 passing yards and 25 to 30 TD passes. Is that right? 3,500 and 4K and 25 to 30 TD passes. That's your benchmark for him. Okay. You think A.J. Brown's overrated? Is A.J. Brown overrated? Nope. No. He's not overrated. He's aging. Interesting. Last year, yes. No, BS Society's legit. Absolutely. No more speed or separation. AJ isn't overrated, but I hope he does better, but thinking he'll be between 900 and 1,200 yards. I agree. Nobody's lost a step, okay? You think Devontae Smith is overrated? I don't. But I don't think he's a 1. He's not a 1 in Philly. I'll take that back. He's a number 1 in LA. Pick the team. But he's not a number 1 in Philly. Like, if the offensive attack, he still gets 1,000 yards, and the offense is still at 27th. He had no impact on the offense getting better. AJ showed us in the Rams games, he just wasn't giving 100% every game. If AJ is here, he doesn't take plays off. He will have to be and have over 1K receiving, 8 to 11 TDs. I think he's a 1 in Philly. I don't. You had 2 number ones, according to Nick last year, and you were 25th in passing. What's going to change? Your new coordinator? What's going to change? Wait a minute. Smitty wasn't a number 1, and nor was AJ last year. Your passing attack was 25th. Where are you getting this from? Where, don't you see? Your receivers have numbers. The offense, who's in charge of that? Oh, I know. It's the coordinator. Oh, wait, Kellen Moore. Wait a minute. Kellen Moore won a Super Bowl last year and your passing game was 28th. Oh, that's right. The coordinator. They chose because I got it. Let's go to another guy. I'm not even going to ask you about Hollywood Brown. Who cares? Dallas Goedert. What kind of year you think he's going to have? Do you think he's overrated? What do you think? Dallas Goedert. AJ could have become a legend if he would have caught some passes against San Francisco. How dumb a take is that? The guy won 2 NFC championships for you and helped you win a Super Bowl, and he's not a legend, but 2 drops against San Francisco. He's not a legend? What a dog shit take. What a disrespect for a guy who was here and helped you during the greatest era of football, and his 2 drops against San Francisco is the reason that you think he's not a legend, and helped you with the winningest time in Philadelphia Eagle history. And you're saying he could have been a legend. Well, you name me another wide receiver who was the main target in your entire history that has a better resume as a Philadelphia Eagle than A.J. Brown. Get this. This guy just said, I never said he isn't a legend. I said a bigger legend. That's not what you wrote here. Could have been a legend. That's not what you wrote there, dude. The real problem this year is going to be at safety. Not if you get a pass rush. I think Dallas is solid. I think he's a good player. I don't really think he's ever been overrated. Mulata's not. Mulata, I think he gets back to form and plays well. Landon, no way is that guy getting back to form. 14 knee surgeries. Not happening. Get this. Landon Dickerson will never be the same. He'll never be the same. 14 knee injuries since he's been an Eagle. Never. And it's a shame. Because guy should have had a long career. But dude, I think he has been a great Eagle. I think he's been a great football player. Okay? What, by telling the truth? Cam, on the other hand, I don't know yet. I can't think he's a one-year wonder where he had such a great... Actually, when he played guard, I thought he played well. So I'm going to give Cam the benefit because he's younger and he doesn't have the extensive injuries. So do I. ESPN has you taking Sadiq? I do too. Thank you, my friend. How many people in here can name 3 left guards that Trent Williams played next to him. How many left guards have been at the skill set of Landon Dickerson? How many left guards in San Francisco made $20 million? I can't name one. Your entire left side of your offensive line makes $60 million or $55 million. Trent Williams didn't play next to anybody like that. And whoever said that the 49ers O-line was in the room with you at one time. Mulata makes 25. Lane makes 20. Center makes 20. Steen's still on a rookie deal. And Lane makes 35. Let's see here. I'm going to give Cam the benefit. I couldn't believe that number I looked up yesterday on Tyler Steen. Tyler Steen played more offensive snaps than any player on offense last year. And they only, according to PFF, gave up 2 sacks a year ago. He did play well. Okay? Okay? He did play well. That's a pretty good number, man. Lane Johnson. You think Lane Johnson was overrated last year? Let's see something here. I'll make a point to you and you tell me if you think it's overrated. Let's see here. Lane Johnson. Go over here. Lane Johnson. Okay. How many people think that Lane Johnson was overrated last year? So the 7 games he missed, you don't take that into account. You just look at the 10 games he played and go, he was really good. And the injuries don't play a factor in your evaluating. So you think Howie doesn't evaluate that, or the coaches don't evaluate. He played great for 10 weeks at 36. But the 7 games that he missed, that's not part of the equation. Injuries. Is that right? So for the 10 games, Sills, he was great. But he did miss almost half the season, and he missed the playoffs. He theoretically missed 8 games last year. Okay, so for the 10 games, he played great. For the 8 games he missed, you're excusing that at 36, right? Thinking he's going to come back at 36, 37 this coming season, and he's going to play at a high level. Is that what you're thinking, Charles? Okay. I think we are using the word overrated incorrectly and wrong. I don't believe that at all. I think injuries, performance, impact, you're only gauged on what your last game and your last season was. You're not gauged what you did 15 fucking years ago. Nobody gives a shit about that. That's not. No. How good were you last year? Well, he was good until he missed 8 games. Okay. Hey, look, you can segment it all you want. I look at the overall season. How well did you play? I waited for that one here. So I'm going to give my 10 best rosters right now on March 31st after free agency. And we're 23 days out to the National Football League's draft. And we're going to start the show up. Let me get my, here we go. All right. I'm going to do this one last time for Z. Will we please stop the BS? Like, please stop the BS with the whole thing with the Patriots and the Eagles. Holy Madonna me. Come on here. We know you're playing a game of cards here. You both got a full house. We know. Put them on the table. You're dealing the guy. Oi. I mean, this is one of my favorite segments. Stop the BS. That's right, Reyes. Without further ado, we bring in my friend, Big Z, Zander Krause. How you doing?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, what'd you make of the Rams confirming that the Eagles and Rams were talking trade about A.J. Brown?
Yeah, I think that's relevant. It's good to hear that there's actual confirmation from a team, but at the same time, it doesn't really prove all that much. I mean, like you hear all the time, teams call about players all the time. I mean, Les Snead also put out that they were thinking of trading Devontae Adams. So were they thinking of trying to, they might have called about Jalen Waddle. They might have called about A.J. Brown with all the noise. I don't think it really says anything about the Eagles' plans, but I do think it's relevant.
Well, if you add the Eagles and the Patriots and the Rams, when you're having multiple conversations about potentially dealing a guy, it does make sense. And it is relevant because we're not talking about, nobody's calling for Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, the Patriots GM kind of denied that they were in, and then Mike Vrabel today didn't really downplay it. Mike Vrabel said, yeah, we're looking at everything to improve the team. So Mike Vrabel is going to be a little bit more honest than the GMs, but, let's see. We'll see what happens. That's become my signature phrase. We'll see what happens, Sileo.
Have you changed at all in any way, Big Z, about AJ moving to the Patriots?
What do you mean changed?
Well, like you said, today I heard Mike Vrabel say exactly what you said. He goes, we're looking to improve our team in any way. And, for a fact, listen, he was talked and asked numerous times by the Boston media about A.J. Brown. And that was the main topic of conversation in Boston today. If you tune on all the sports talk shows, it's A.J. Brown Central in Boston. And they're feeling exceptionally optimistic about you're overrated. Cute. You're overrated. Slowing down.
That's cute. The Boston people love Philadelphia.
Dropped hands.
The Boston people can't get enough of us.
Well, they haven't won anything near what you guys have won, my opinion. Even though you got to the Super Bowl last year, they just haven't in the last 4 years. They just Eagles have been better.
They're a good organization.
It's a great organization.
Yeah.
All right, so John McMullen and you gave me one of the greatest topics I can ever fucking hope for.
That normally doesn't mean a good thing.
Oh, holy cow, ye of good hope. Oh my God. All right. So I looked it up and then I actually called somebody. The first time the coaches get a chance to talk to players is April 20th. Is the first time you get a chance to talk to players as a coach and players. And if you take that number, it's 137 days until February 4th, the first week of National Football League and the first week of National Football Show. And your boy, Sean Mannion, hasn't even given that bullshit game plan and that playbook that Lane was bullshitting about.
He's not even allowed to give it.
That. You have 137 days that you're going to get all that in with a newbie. How you doing? You think you're going to be able to accomplish all that in 137 days?
Yeah, I think they will, man. I think they will. Why would they not be able to? This is normal off-season timelines. In fact, they had an extra month this year. They had an extra month to get things going. They won the Super Bowl last year. They were parade until late February. I think February, 15th or 14th? Yeah, it was February 14th. It was Valentine's Day that we were parading down Broad Street. So, I had an extra month. Sean Mannion is going to be just fine. And look, it's legislated this way. You know this, correct?
March 31st. Sean Mannion will be fine. Okay. All right.
You writing that down? Then
Oh,
I made what a bold statement by Big Z. Sean Mannion will be fine on March 31st.
Well, here's my bold statement. He'll be replaced of his duties by Josh Grizzard by week 6.
Is that your bold take?
Yeah.
What a shit take.
Okay. All
I
right.
actually think Sean Mannion's going to be good. I just don't know if he's going to be good in year 1. That's my problem.
Yeah. And will the Eagles have enough patience?
I don't know if they'll have enough patience.
That's right.
And here's the thing. Are they even wrong for not having patience? They're a team that believes they're right on the cusp of another Super Bowl.
Well,
they don't have time to be patient.
Well, then why are you giving it to a training wheels OC?
That's a question for Nick Sirianni, who I was thinking about, by the way. Guy's got a lot of success, man. He gets a lot. I tell you what, I read a lot of comments from Eagles fans on a day-to-day basis. You know, it's part of what I do. I read all the live chats. I read the comments on the channel. You know, I peruse social media for topics and for news on the Eagles. I read a lot of comments from Eagles fans. And, man, they talk about this guy like he is a fucking stiff. And I will say this to every single one of them. If any of them were as successful in their profession as Nick has been in his, I don't think a single one of them would have those comments. Not a single one of them. Because anybody that tries to achieve success in life, anybody that works hard to achieve success, anybody that's fighting an uphill battle and is going against the odds to try and be successful in an area where it's not common to be successful, I believe would respect what Nick Sirianni has done.
Okay. So let's use that topic here and go around the horn here a little bit. You think Phil Jackson and his 12 NBA championships, that Phil Jackson's one of the legendary coaches in sports history?
Do I think Phil Jackson is?
Yeah.
One of the best in sports history?
Yeah, 12 NBA titles.
Yeah, I think he is.
How good do you think Kobe, Shaq, and Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were a result of that? And then when he went to New York and had to be asked to build and coach the Knicks, he was a colossal fucking failure when he was asked to do that. Don't you think sometimes coaches are products of systems and people that are
absolutely? That's sports. That's
what happened to Phil? Phil couldn't coach Dick in New York.
Yeah, but that's it. Could he not coach Dick, or did he not have good players, Sileo?
Okay.
You know, dude,
can Nick coach? Can Nick coach, or does Nick have good players? That's always been my contention.
Sports is a talent-driven game, though. But my point is, if you're going to knock Phil Jackson for when he didn't have great players, how are you going to take away from Nick if he didn't have good players? Phil fucking Jackson couldn't win without good players.
You're missing my point. Phil was good because, hey, Kobe, turn and shoot.
So the point is this: every coach who's ever been good is good because of their players.
He was asked to go someplace when he had to be a coach. He couldn't be a coach.
See, you think you just proved me, but your point itself proves you wrong. Every coach
Nick is a product of the players.
Needs good players.
Nick is a product of the players around him, plain and simple. Not his.
So is Jimmy. So is Phil Jackson. So is everybody.
Jimmy built that team and brought those guys in and hired those guys.
But it was a different era. You know, one of my biggest weaknesses in business as an entrepreneur is I suck ass, Sileo, at delegating. I suck at it. I hate delegating because every time I delegate, I have to oversee. Is it done the way I want it to be done? Is it done as good? It's a weakness. It's a weakness. You know, somebody said to me, you know, why are you so worried about doing everything? If you delegate it, you'll get bigger and then you'll be big. That's my weakness. Nick Sirianni delegates his task in the modern NFL where they're $10 billion organizations, and you're acting like that's some sort of knock on him? Dude, this isn't the 90s,
Okay,
dude.
Well, here's my take on Nick, finally here for you. He's a product of Howie putting great players around him, plain and simple, the same way that Jerry Krause and Reinsdorf put great players around Phil, and Jerry West put great players around him in Los Angeles.
So you're saying to me that Jimmy Johnson's a better GM than he is coach?
Maybe.
Well, then that's fine. I'm good with that take.
I
My
never thought
point is,
Jimmy was
my point is this:
Jimmy was
I'm
a
not
better
going to knock
delegator.
Nick Sirianni for having good players.
Jimmy was
Every coach needs
Jimmy
good
was
players.
a better delegator.
Well, was he? I mean, he did everything.
I never
for your
heard Jimmy
point.
Johnson call a play in my entire life when I was around him for 6 years. Ever.
Well, maybe he was, but my point is, I have a hard time taking away from Nick for having
Everybody
good players
has weaknesses and strengths. I get it. You're not wrong on that. Okay. But when Phil Jackson, somebody tells me, hey, Phil, man, what a great coach. Well, I mean, hey, Kobe, Michael, shoot, turn. I mean,
but again, you don't think Phil Jackson's a bad coach, do you?
No, I think he's a product of the environment that he had around him too.
Isn't that every coach? By that definition, isn't that every coach?
No,
so
no.
Is Bill Belichick didn't have any success post Tom
I don't
Brady.
think that about everybody. I don't think that. I think when you got a coach like Sean Payton that goes from New Orleans and goes up to Denver and retools that Denver Bronco team and puts that Denver Bronco team in the AFC Championship game in 3 years after that thing was a train wreck under Russell Wilson, I do think there's certain coaches that know how and do what they're doing and now are great coaches. I think Jim Harbaugh's a great coach. He's been successful everywhere he's gone. I think there are guys that are successful. Let me give you another one here. So, like, when I look at a guy like John Calipari or a guy like Rick Pitino brought 5 teams.
Now, that's a good coach, Rick Pitino, baby. That's a good coach.
Rick Pitino is a good coach that's taken 5 teams to Sweet 16s, 5 different programs.
Absolutely. He's an excellent coach.
Okay. So,
but that's, that's a builders of programs are, to your point. I mean, having a builder of a program like that is kind of a different skill set. It should still be credited greatly. I agree with you, but that's a lot more rare, dude. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot more rare. Like, again, I'll go to Belichick, who I think is an extreme example, but do we all think Belichick's not a good coach for sucking ass at UNC and for struggling?
Can I tell you where I think he stinks? Can I tell you where I think he stinks? I think he's terrible at personnel.
And Brady made up for it.
Well, here, Nick Caserio is down in Texas. Look at Nick Caserio and what he's done. Well, guess what? He was the guy picking talent in New England. Right. Now he's in Texas. He's down with the Texans. The Texans have a good program, and that's out of the Deshaun Watson.
Well, he better figure out the quarterback.
Absolutely. Hey, every guy that I said, okay, wait a second. Parcells wasn't great everywhere. What's the one common denominator that Bill Parcells never won without Bill Belichick?
Look, I don't have a problem with people bringing up these names, but again, we all have to recognize, like, guys, sports is at a different phase right now. I mean, you have a team for sale right now that's about to go for $8-9 billion.
Seahawks.
I mean, we are at a different stage of sports where if you're going to take away from Nick Sirianni's career and his accolades because he doesn't do everything in the world that we live in today, then I think your gauge, your scale is broken. I mean, you're not going to find guys who do what Jimmy did. You know that.
No, you're not. You're not going to find guys like that. But then when you this whole thing gets contradicted to me when you hire a guy who's been a coach for 24 months and has never been a play caller, hire a guy who's never put a playbook together.
That I agree with. I mean, that's a questionable decision. Even if it works, it's a questionable decision.
But you're duplicating it.
The logic on that is questionable, even if it works out. I agree with that. I certainly agree with that. I was just thinking about the success of Nick because, I find it funny how people love to shit on Nick. And if I were Nick and I read some of the social posts that I read, I would chuckle. I would say, I'm the guy up here who's got 2 NFC titles, who's got a 700 win. I'm the man in the arena. I'm the guy who's had the success. And then listen to schmucks like this in the chat. Some fucking stiff who's never picked up a fucking pen to coach a team. Sirianni sucks. Oh, does he, Jared? Well, what have you accomplished, Jared? What have you accomplished in your profession?
All right. Do you think
if it's successful or if it's impressive? What if I sat here and didn't know what you did or didn't know how to do what you do and said, "Hey, you suck"?
Okay.
You'd laugh at me. You'd say you're a fool.
Let me bring this up here then. If Sirianni goes 8-9 this year, is he fired?
I think he will because we even
Well, then how great can he be?
Owner. What's that?
Oh, okay, the emotional owner.
Well, I just think the owner has. Well, I don't know if emotional was the right word. Maybe impatient. He's an impatient owner, and sometimes that's good. By the way, that's maybe the reason that they've been able to turn the team around after Doug and Carson, and they go back to the Super Bowl a couple years later. So maybe there's areas where that's good, but when things are in flux, he can be a little quick to make a judgment. And I think the book is already out on how the owner feels about Nick. Remember, he almost fired him in 24 after week 4. He almost fired him after the 23 season, it was reported. So I think the owner knows how he feels about Nick already. And the only thing he needs is validation to do what he's always wanted to do. So I think that's a little bit of a Jeffrey Lurie thing. But yeah, to your point, if he goes 8-9, I think he'll be fired. I do.
Okay, so let me ask you this here on a question on the NFC East here. John Harbaugh, Matt Nagy, Denard Wilson, Brian Callahan, Bill Callahan, offensive line coach, Mike Bloomgreen, and Grant Newsome. In your opinion, do you believe the Eagles have a better coaching staff than the New York Giants?
They have a pretty good coaching staff, actually. The New York Giants have assembled right now, but I'll give it to the
Greg
Eagles.
Roman's up there too as the pass.
I'll give it to the Eagles. I think Nick has accomplished more, in a short amount of time. Maybe not accomplished more, but has an impressive resume.
I'm saying coaching staff.
Well, look at Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio, Clint Hurt. I think the defensive staff for the Eagles is phenomenal. I know they lost Christian Parker and a couple guys. The offensive staff is a bunch of, kind of guys that are still trying to prove their value in the NFL. Josh Grizzard was a one-year coordinator and was let go. What's his real value? Sean Mannion, same thing. An up-and-coming name that people talk about, but a lot of people are still probably waiting to see what he is. Gerard Johnson, same thing. So I think they're less proven offensively, but I don't know that I would give like a sweeping advantage to the New York Giants. Who'd they hire as their OC again?
I believe it's Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy. I'm not sure. I think Matt Nagy. I think he's got.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right.
Let me see here.
Yeah, they hired Matt Nagy. You're right. John Harbaugh, Matt Nagy.
As a coach and an offensive coordinator, he's got 2 Super Bowl rings. He was also
they hired Denard Wilson, right? The former Eagle coach.
Absolutely, and he was also the former NFL Coach of the Year, and that's their offensive coordinator. So do you think, Zander, that it's kind of close, though, because the offense on the Eagles is very, very questionable? Well, how about this? Unknown. How about this? Incomplete. You don't know. I don't know.
I think that's fair on the offense, yes.
Right?
How could we know? Sean Mannion's never called a play. Josh Grizzard was 1 year. Now, they had a lot of injuries. I thought they blamed Josh Grizzard a little too much in Tampa, So
I did too. I did too.
Yeah.
I did too.
I didn't think that was all him, but remember, Baker Mayfield was the MVP of the league after week 6. But everybody seems to forget that. So we'll see.
Do you think that Nick Sirianni's a better coach than John Harbaugh?
I don't think he's a better coach because I don't think he has quite the resume. John's been around for a long time, but I think Nick is pacing in that direction. I think he's on pace for. You can make an argument Nick's accomplished more than John from a top of the ladder standpoint.
In a shorter time frame.
Right. So you could make an argument, but obviously John is, there's also something to be said about sustained success, right? It's one thing to go to the mountaintop. It's another thing to remain steady in that you're a successful coach year in and year out. So that's impressive too. I'll give it to John right now, but I think Nick is pacing in a strong direction. Maybe is pacing, to go past him.
Well, let me see how he started out. How many years has he been the head football coach?
Who, Harbaugh?
No, Nick, 5?
Nick, this will be year 6.
Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so in Harbaugh's first 5 years, he lost in the AFC Championship game, 11-5. He lost in the AFC divisional game in year 2. He lost in the divisional round of the Steelers in year 3. He lost in the AFC title game in year 4, and he won the Super Bowl in year 5. And in 5 years, he's got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's 10-4 in his first 5 years in the playoffs. So it's kind of compatible a little bit there, except for the fact that Nick's got 2 NFC titles. They both have a Super Bowl. And the records look pretty similar here because, again, he was 11-5, 9-7. That's like Nick's first year. And after that, they were 12-4, 12-4, 10-6. So to your point on trending that way, so he's trending that way. He is. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, the only thing I would say about John is John has a lot of autonomy.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right. What do you think Sean Mannion is going to bring to Jalen Hurts?
That's a good question. You know, we debated this before Kellen Moore was hired, and we thought the kind of a pro-style approach was coming, and it ultimately never came to fruition. So, you know, I hate to say it, dude. I have no fucking clue.
Okay.
Like, is he going to run more? Is he going to? Is the previous version of Jalen Hurts going to be restored? Is it going to be an improve or like an attempted improvement on what he was in 25? You know, you know what else I think you've talked about, and this relates to what we're talking about here. But you've talked about how Saquon changed things for AJ and Jalen, and I think Saquon's also maybe put Jalen in a spot where he struggled to finding himself as a player.
No question.
Yeah, like how does Jalen? Because Jalen was on a clear trajectory.
That's right.
Saquon. You know, he had a big year in 22. He started to throw the ball more in 23, turned it over more, but he did throw the ball more effectively. He had like 3,900 passing yards that year. So I thought the next step for Jalen was, okay, keep that passing game improved.
Yes.
And then hone in on those turnovers.
That's right.
Well, Saquon showed up. The turnovers continued in the first 4 games.
They derailed them.
And then they kind of abandoned it.
So they derailed them.
Yeah, and maybe Jalen doesn't exactly know where he's trying to go right now. Or maybe he knows, but maybe it's not coming to fruition in the offense that the Eagles are running. I don't know. You know, I think this is the biggest thing they have to get ahead of here.
Do you think that Nick sacrificed Jalen Hurts' career for the betterment of the team? And what I mean by that is you put him, like you just said, more in a box because of Barkley. I mean, like you said, after 22, he was – how many times did you hear me say this? That guy's a weapon.
Yeah, but you could also – I don't think your line of thinking is way off, but you could also make the argument that he saved Jalen. Because remember, Jalen had a lot of turnovers in 23, and then in 24, when they made the switch to Barkley, they didn't make the switch when they signed Barkley, guys.
No, week 5.
They didn't sign Barkley and then prep the whole training camp in the summer.
It evolved.
Right. They abandoned it. They abandoned what they were doing after 4 games because they had 7 turnovers in the first 4 games. You remember me and you were talking about it, you know, every single day on the show. And then they went a different route. So I'm just saying there's something to be said about perhaps Nick created something that, you know, allowed Jalen to not be the, you know, kind of the focal point of the offense. And it maybe gave Jalen more accolades. You know, hey, look, did his statistical numbers go down? Sure. But what's that Super Bowl MVP done for Jalen Hurts' career? You know? What's that Super Bowl trophy done for Jalen Hurts' career? Do they get there if Nick doesn't make that change? So while I understand your question, it would be hard-pressed for me to say Nick Sirianni's taken away from Jalen Hurts' career.
Okay, well then why do we go down this lane? If Hurts doesn't have a great year, they're not extending him. If he's been so successful, why are we in this conversation where – now, Zander, help me out here. Is that just Philly?
You're going to know by the end of the year if they're going to keep Jalen around here. If they don't extend Jalen next summer, it's the beginning. It's the end, maybe. After this year, he has no more guaranteed money left. You know that, right?
Yeah.
His contract becomes very movable after this year. Now, if they extend him, they're going to lock in with him again for, you know, a couple more years.
He'll retire an Eagle if they extend him.
I agree. But I don't know if they will. I mean, I thought that when Jalen originally signed his deal, and especially after the Super Bowl, I thought this summer was the summer to extend him. Like, remember when he won the Super
Yeah.
Bowl last summer? We
Yeah.
were like, next year will be the Hurts extension. So if it doesn't come this summer, I think it shows you that the Eagles, at the very least, aren't committing to him yet for longer than what he's here for right now. And if they don't give it to him next summer, then they're probably, he's probably going.
If they had the same result that they had this past year in 25, are both Hurts? Has that sand dial been turned upside down?
If they don't want,
if they have the same year they had a year ago, is that sundial turned upside down? Does it start the sand going through at the end?
Yeah, definitely. But remember, I mean, that, their bad years are not bad by league standards.
By far.
I mean, they had a playoff appearance last year. We talk about last year like it was a catastrophe.
Jets.
I mean, guys, it wasn't.
True.
Now I get it. In Philly, we had high expectations. We and that's fine. We have great belief in the players and in the team and in the roster and everything. I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying, I don't know if they win 11 games. Find me another quarterback that gets fired after 11 wins. It doesn't happen that often.
Doesn't. Well, do you think that Howie, like I said, this past offseason, you think Howie mortgaged 2025 for the future?
You mean 2026 or do you mean last season?
No, remember I asked you, do you think Howie Roseman is mortgaging the 2025 year for 26 and 27? Do you think he mortgaged it?
I don't think that ultimately bared out to be true, Sileo, because of what he did in the season. He traded the 3rd round pick for Jalen Phillips and then let him walk. So maybe he made some sacrifices, but I don't think if he sacrificed 25 and knew that going in, why do you trade a 3rd round pick? We would have another 3rd round pick coming up. We'd be mocking that all. We'd have 5 picks in the top 100, So we'd be mocking that. That would be the best way to build.
They signed 6 edge rushers, and they had to go into the season to sign another or five.
I'm just saying, if Howie had consciously said we have to take a step back to take a step forward, I don't think he ever sends that pick for Phillips. Now, that doesn't mean he made every evaluation correct.
No.
It doesn't mean he made all the signings correct, but I don't believe that Howie sacrificed or kind of gave up on 25 for the future. I don't think anything he did last year showed that, other than that he wanted to be cheaper.
Okay. Saquon Barkley. You think that guy's overrated?
I don't think he's overrated. I just don't know that he's the type of workhorse, upper echelon caliber back consistently as people think. I think people think Saquon and they think, Derrick Henry. I mean, it's not the room. It's not in that room, folks. Look, I love Saquon and what he did for this team will probably always be remembered and be written about in history books. But at the end of the day, I mean, hasn't been that type of back in his career. He's had good years. He's had one great year. And that's kind of the story of his career. You talked about that, remember, when he got signed here from the Giants, and I think that 2,500 year was great. I don't think last year was all his fault. I really don't. I don't think he was great, but I don't think it was all his fault. I think he's a very good back. I don't think he's an exceptional back. I don't think he's Derrick Henry level. No.
Do you think he lands between 1,400 and 1,600 yards coming up this year?
That's a little rich. I think it's closer to like 12 to 1,300.
What he did this year, then, because he was 11.
But I'm hoping they're more effective.
Oh, so you mean the yards per carry's up?
Yeah, right. And maybe the usage is a little down. Maybe it's a little bit of a different spread offense. Maybe they use a 2-back set.
Catching the football too.
Right. Maybe there's some different looks there, but I don't. 14 to 1,600, I think, is pretty. I don't know. I mean, maybe look at what James Cook did last year. Maybe you try and look for a season like that. They didn't rely entirely on James Cook.
No.
So maybe I think Barkley's a pretty awesome player, but I do think he's going to need a great offensive line and some of those things.
Are you looking between 3,500 and 4K and 25 and 30 for Jalen Hurts this coming season?
I'm looking at around 33 to 36. I think is probably 34 to 3,600, somewhere in that range. I'm not going to go down the road of 4K. I don't think that's coming. I think if he goes above 36, I think that'll be a good thing, but doesn't guarantee it's a good thing. Might mean you're playing from behind a lot.
Okay.
Might mean you're playing like the Cowboy. Oh, why did Dak Prescott have 5,000 yards? Well, he was a good player. Don't get me wrong, but Well, they were down by 3
True.
touchdowns in most games, you
True.
know, so that's not always a good thing. I think 34 to 3,600 means he's efficient, and it means the team is playing in a way where they're winning football games. So I think that's the range where I want him to be.
Do you think that this coming year, let's just play the game that AJ is going to be here. Do you think that they're going to try to make AJ Brown the second receiver and try to start that progression of moving Devontae into that lead role? I mean, if not now, when?
Even if Devontae's a 1, dude, like I don't think they're going to play it like that.
So Devontae Smith will never be a primary target in Philly?
No, I think that would end after this year at the latest.
Phew.
Now, hey, maybe Jalen Hurts takes matters into his own hands a little bit. And by the way, I wouldn't be upset at Hurts for that. I mean,
I would say it's about time.
Look, I know a lot of people love AJ, and I've defended AJ quite a bit on these programs. If I were the quarterback, I wouldn't feel all that great about that guy being the guy in my foxhole. That's all I'm saying. I
don't trust him.
Yeah, I don't trust him. He kind of showed himself a little bit. And look, AJ, that's AJ's prerogative. He's allowed to do that. But, if I were Hurts, I'd be looking to get the ball to Smitty a little bit more. So, hey, maybe it happens naturally, Sills. Maybe it comes his way more. And maybe Jalen makes a concerted effort to look for Devontae Smith more. I mean, look, Devontae runs open a lot. But Jalen is not a pure progression read type of player. So if he doesn't get through past that first read or second read to Devontae or to the other side of the field, AJ and Devontae are often on other sides of the field, then maybe he doesn't ever even looks for Devontae. Maybe that changes. Maybe Jalen comes into the year saying, I want to look to Devontae first. Let's get Devontae 10 targets a game. Maybe that happens.
I'm going to talk to you with all bullshit aside here, and I'm going to say this. If I was on that team and I was the head of that team, I would be Jalen Hurts and look at him and go, dude, I got to tell you, I don't have to work to be a better teammate to you. You got to work to be a better teammate to me. I don't trust your ass right now. Talking shit and being a bullshitter. Hey, look, dude, I'm all for that stuff. But Zander, you can't be stabbing your guy in the back like Deshaun Jackson was stabbed in the back by Donovan McNabb at the Pro Bowl. You can't have that shit, dude.
Yeah, it's low.
Dude, let me tell you something. I got to show you something. Do you know who I've been talking to lately? I'm trying to get him on the program.
Who's that?
You know who we're trying to make up with? Me and Sapp are trying to make up.
Oh, really? Yeah, you have a long history with Sapp.
Warren Sapp reached out to me and he goes, listen, he started following me again on Twitter and we started reaching out and I go,
I know, but just let me tell you something real quick. Don't let these fuckers take advantage of you. You know why he's reaching out? Because Sileo's popping up everywhere. You're fucking dominating on the radio again. You're dominating on the weekends on Sports Grid. You're growing like a weed again. I'm not saying don't have a relationship. I'm just saying I want you to be smart.
Like my wife.
Don't let these fuckers take advantage of you, dude.
And my aunt. You sound like my wife's on my aunt right now.
Don't let them fuckers take advantage of you.
I got it. And he texts me, as a matter of fact, and he goes, I'm sorry. And I'm going like this, and I go, I'm not really big on sorries.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Zander, you stabbed me in the back, man. I'm not really to come around and be your boy again. I mean,
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
You know what, man? Too many people have stabbed us in the back on this ride that you and me have been on, and I don't go by. I had a guy text me. I'm not going to say a name. His initials are DG, trying to send me some this and that, and I'm like, I don't fucking respond to that, bro. I'm not very good at it. And so I'm just not that dude. And so I thought about it and I'm like, then I got a text from Mario Cristobal and he goes, I want you to be cool with this guy. And I'm like, oh, I don't like being friends with people who shit on me. I'm a one guy. I'm a 1-2. My aunt doesn't want me. And my wife goes, this guy's going to take advantage of you.
Yeah, right.
I
don't know that your wife is wrong.
Okay. Well, wait a minute.
Sometimes women have a sixth sense for that stuff too.
But then why should Jalen trust him?
AJ, I already said I wouldn't trust him. I mean, I think AJ showed himself not only in the Niner game, but I think he showed himself in the offseason. And I pointed this out yesterday, and I'm surprised more people haven't talked about this, but you think AJ went on that podcast with Edelman and didn't say to them, like,
Oh, before it started, of course
Yeah.
they went over all that.
That's what I mean. Like, you don't just, he's not just going to, the most obvious question on planet Earth right now to AJ Brown in an interview is about the trade speculation. They didn't address it. They brought up the Patriots thing. He's giving them winks. Like, I think AJ's just kind of showed himself at this point, and that's all right. If AJ wants to do his thing and wants to get his yards and whatever, he's entitled to that. But, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to treat him like a great friend or a great teammate because of it. I mean, come on.
About Angelo dropping a little knowledge on the program today. Your dad texts me and goes,
I didn't. So I had to run out real quick for 20 minutes. So Krause stepped in just to make sure that everything was good on the show. I didn't hear all of Angelo. He texted me Angelo was a firecracker today or something.
Hey, listen to this. So your pop goes,
Angelo was loaded today is what he told me.
Oh, dude, Angelo said WIP just laid off Phillies reporter Devin Caney. She also took over for the Eagles sideline reporter for Howard. I don't see anything published yet. So I'm thinking that Rhea Hughes told Angelo that she's been relieved because they are going through a meltdown over there once again at IP.
Yeah,
isn't that funny, man?
They're always doing
No. I'm not losing her gig, but I'm talking about I remember stories being written about us when guys were leaving, and all of a sudden, when somebody, you don't see anybody writing stories about WIP laying off.
But no, it's funny. It's part of one. It's part of business, and two, it makes me reminded that, and I don't say this with arrogance or anything, and I hope it doesn't come off that way. But, dude, I don't even have a desire to be mentioned with those people. Like, I don't give a rat's ass about those companies, about those personalities. Like, I went down that road, dude. Like, there's a reason that I kept who we kept, and we've built from how we built the last couple of years. And I have no desire to try and, be what they want us to be or expect us to be. It's just not what I want.
I'm so happy that you're way better than me because I'm a scoreboard dude.
I'm a scoreboard. No, that doesn't mean I'm not a scoreboard guy.
I'm a scoreboard guy.
It just means I keep scoreboard in my arena. I'm not gonna enter your arena and then let you keep score. You know what I mean? That's not how I want to play the dance. Yeah. Okay, I'll keep score. All right, on my own arena. I run it. I own it. I am it. I keep the score. Man, I'm not going to let that whole thing keep score because, by the way, that's a losing game.
Yeah, well, I got a book over here, names on it. I'm gonna kick some ass here in the next couple of months.
Look, it's a losing game for the winners. You look, we talk about WIP. Objectively, WIP is supremely successful in the radio business.
Oh, absolutely.
In fact, they're one of the very few entities that exist remaining that are profitable. They are a successful business, okay, or at least a successful station, and I give them credit for that. I don't take away. I don't hold any bad ill will in my heart toward them. I think it's impressive, but even they're losing. You know what I'm saying? Like even the winners in that arena are losing.
Yeah,
that's just the nature of the game.
What I look at is don't be talking shit on me. And all of a sudden, when you use the same metric, you use the same metric on them. And for me, you've taken shots at me. Well, guess what? I'm still standing, bitch.
Yeah, you are. Are you kidding me? I was telling Sileo, you guys have to see it. I want everybody to do this when you guys are browsing around on the Philadelphia Eagles websites that exist out there. You guys know when you watch Reid sports articles, you get like a video in the bottom corner, like they just pop up nowadays. It's kind of a new way that content is delivered. Every sports website I go on, your ugly mug pops up in the corner. I'm like, who's that? It's Big Sales. Holy moly! So I love it, man. I love it. It's a great shout out to you and your show on Sports Grid. You guys do a great job, and I love seeing it. I really.
Well, do. I'm not there. I'm not there if it's not because of here. I'm just not. I'm not there.
But it's all. That doesn't mean you take away from who you are and your talent either, though.
No, wait. But again, I'm not there if it's not for here, and it's not because of the folk. By the way. I'm not there in here if it's not for all of you that help donate to keep the channel going and keep us being relevant because you know why? It's the last bastion of what Angelo said. Angelo goes like this. This is the last place. Even, I'll tell you what, John McMullen is critical.
Does Angelo want a gig? We got to do a rev share, though. I can't pay him his $1 million.
You want me to prime him up for that?
Let's go rev share.
All right. I'll work on it. I'll ask him. I'll see if he wants to get in the game. Can you imagine Angelo? I'll say first we'll start him out like this.
He's gonna be like, I have the most 30 minutes a week. Maybe it's a post game.
Watch this. Oh my God.
Oh, post game Angelo and Sileo, that would be electric.
Oh, John would have a heart attack.
Oh my God. I might have to separate those programs.
Oh my God. No, we need him on the post game because let's get this weekend. We get him for 30 minutes a week on Sunday on a post game.
Do you know how many sponsors love Angelo? Get us one sponsor, Angelo, and we'll make it work.
That's beautiful. I got my 10 best rosters right now because John McMullen said there's no good teams right now and nobody's really a good team. So why don't you and I do this? And you tell me. I know you'd have to do this on the fly here. But here's my top 10 rosters. We're 23 days out from the NFL draft, right? Is it 23? So this is post free agency. Number 10, I got the Chargers at number 10. At number 9, I got the Eagles.
Okay, I'm good with that. I think that's appropriate for you. I think that's appropriate.
I got the Patriots at 8. I got the Texans at 7. I got the Ravens at 8.
No, at 8.
6. Excuse me.
6. Okay.
I got the 49ers at 5.
Yeah, I'm a little high on the 49ers right now, too. I know people aren't going to like that, but I think they're a good team right now.
I get the Bills at 4.
Too high.
I got the Broncos at 3. I got the Seahawks at 2. I got the Rams 1. So here,
Rams are the clear 1 right now. It's not even
Rams
close.
1, Seahawks 2, Broncos 3. These are rosters, not the best teams. Rams 1, Seahawks 2, Broncos 3, Bills 4, 49ers 5, Ravens 6, Texans 7, Patriots 8, Eagles 9, Chargers 10.
Couple changes I'd make off the top of my head. I don't have my list, but a couple changes I would make. And I think your list is pretty good, actually. I'd have the Broncos a notch higher. I think the Seahawks lost some key players. I mean, you lost Kenneth Walker, who was, a big part of that offense.
So you would have the Broncos 2nd
2.
and the Seahawks 3.
Yep, Seahawks 3. I would drop back the Bills a little bit. I don't believe that roster's that good. Now, you having them at 4, I will remind you, Sileo wrote down something I said earlier. Everybody listening, get out your pen and paper or open up the notes app on your iPhone or your phone and write down. Sileo on March 31st says, the Bills have the top 5 roster in football, which means what, everybody? There's no more excuses for Joshy Poo Allen. All right, Sileo? I'd have them a little lower.
Name me a wide receiver he has.
Well, how do you have him as the 4th roster in football then?
They could have the great O-line, great running back, and a great defense, and a great quarterback. That doesn't necessarily mean they're a complete team.
If you're a top 5 roster,
okay, your point's well
taken. To go to distance.
All right, shut up. Your point's well taken. I got it. All right, go ahead.
You had 5. Who'd you have 5?
I had 49ers.
I like 49ers at 5. I thought the Patriots, I would put the Eagles
I got the Ravens
Patriots
at 6 and the Patriots at 8, Texans 7, Eagles 9, Chargers 10.
Yeah, I'd have the Eagles a little higher. I'd have the Ravens a notch lower. I'd have the Patriots a notch lower. I like where you have the Chargers. I'd actually have the Chargers a tick higher than you did. You had them at what, 8?
10.
Oh, 10? Yeah, I'd have them a little higher.
How about the Jaguars? I don't have them ranked. What do you make?
They're right there. They're right on the cusp, I think, of the top 10.
Where would you have the Eagles?
Around where you are, probably 7, maybe
7, 8, 9, somewhere in there.
6 would probably be my ceiling for them right now. Like, I don't know if let's say Cam and Landon are healthy and AJ stays here and he hasn't lost a step, then I think they're 6. But without that, I think 7 or 8 is probably an appropriate spot around there. 7. So
if AJ's not here, do the Eagles fall out of the top 10 in rosters?
Well, it depends who they replace it with. I mean, if they trade AJ for a 1 and a 3, and then they package up 2 1s and go and pick up Myles Garrett, well, hello there, hello there, right? So it kind of depends on what they do, but yeah, if they in theory, if they trade him for a 1 and a 3, and you're left with Marquise Brown and Elijah Moore, then yeah, you're probably out of the top 10.
I heard that the trade fell through because the Eagles wanted the Rams number 1.
Yeah, and the Rams didn't want to give it because
And
the Rams are smart. The Rams have been listening to Big Z. They know AJ's not worth a 1.
But Devontae Adams was involved in that.
Well, that would have been a nice return for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Get a second. Yeah, but remember, that's not what they would have wanted. They wouldn't have wanted to turn a 29-year-old wide receiver into a 32.
It had to be more than just the 1. They wanted a 1 and a 2.
Maybe Devontae in a 2 or a 3.
No. What I'm saying is sending AJ to the Rams, that they would have got the 1 back, but I'm thinking that the Rams wanted probably a 2 back.
Maybe they might have wanted the Eagles 1 back.
Probably so.
A pick swap, 23 to 13. What are the Rams? 13 or 14? 13, right?
13.
So 23 to 13, and then trade out Adams and AJ. Yeah, that's not a deal the Eagles wanted.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense for Philly to chase that down like that. Why would I empower them?
I agree. That's probably why the talks didn't go anywhere. It's probably why.
Plus, you got a game with them this year in regular season, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, well, wait, I got to run into him twice with AJ? I'm thinking that's not right, Man.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, could be the money, could be the age, could be a lot of things there.
Bro, you're
they're generally a pretty smart organization. Like I didn't.
Reid is a great GM,
but they also, and I like this about them. When they feel like they have an opportunity, they are willing to play the risk. They are willing to trade the picks. They are willing to make the moves that they feel necessary. So, wouldn't surprise me if they were in that conversation, but probably Howie's look. The key is here with Howie and this AJ Brown thing. By default, when you trade a player like AJ at this point in his career, you don't win those trades. Very, very rarely do you get the return back that equals what the player equals. It's very rare. So if you're Howie, you're probably looking for a team that maybe is desperate, for a team that maybe doesn't have a great track record of making smart, sound moves, maybe things like that. I don't think the Rams are your target when you're trying to extract as much value as possible for AJ Brown.
Don't you think the Rams, don't you think Seattle won that DK Metcalf trade?
Hell yeah.
Okay, because they got a pick. And you made JSN better, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Here, let me.
I mean, they won the Super Bowl. How could I, how could I disagree?
So Seattle won that deal by sending DK to the Steelers, right?
I guess in theory they won the deal. Yeah, I mean, I never thought DK was that good of a player.
Oh, you didn't think he was in the conversation with AJ Brown?
No. Huh. DK Metcalf? No.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's ever even approached that conversation.
Really?
Yeah, that is not the player I would go for.
Here, let me take a look at that for a second. Here,
I think people are more infatuated with the physical nature of the guy than they are the actual, production on the football field.
How did the Rams get the Atlanta's pick at 13? How the hell did they get that pick?
I mean, DK's career he's got 900 yards his rookie year. Then he had 1,300, and that's where he peaked. Then he had 967, 1,048, 1,100, 900, and 850. I mean, he's a good player. He's not a top receiver.
No.
AJ, after 23, it was not controversial to say AJ Brown was a top 5 receiver in the National Football League.
I thought the 22 season he was the best receiver in the league.
Me too. I don't think I ever said even close to that about DK Metcalf.
Ever. No. I can't believe those two guys played together at Ole Miss too.
Yep.
And let me show you something here with AJ too. And here's the beauty of Howie Roseman here that I want to show you something. And he did this also with Zach Bond. So check this out, Zander. And this is really this is going to go down as one of his greatest trades of all time. I don't know if there's a better trade that he's made in his career than A.J. Brown, because think of this for a second. So you get a guy that's in Tennessee and he's playing with Derrick Henry. He's got 52 catches, 1,000 yards. Okay. 70 catches, 1,000 yards. Those are Adam Thielen numbers. 63 catches, 869 yards. Look at his first 3 years playing in that offense with Ryan Tannehill. 52,000 yards, albeit 2,000-yard seasons in 3 years. Those aren't exceptional. He gets to Philly. They increase his volume to 145 in targets. He gets 88 for 1,496 and 17 touchdowns. Or excuse me, 11 touchdowns. Then he goes 106 for 1,456 and 7. Those 2 years, how could Tennessee never knew what they had, is my point. They never knew what they had. He's done that numerous times. Gardner Johnson on the Saints roster, right? Bond on the Saints roster. AJ on the Tennessee roster. That's really well done with your scouting department in saying the talent level is better than what they're utilizing the kid in Tennessee. It's a brilliant front office, and that's why I think that guy believes in his process over anything else, because when it comes to talent evaluating, I'm telling you, man, that Jalen Reagor deal, you stick that bottle, knock some sense into him. I think that Jalen Reagor deal knocked more sense into Howie Roseman than any other moment in the history of his career. Even being put in the closet during the Chip Kelly era, dude, that Jalen Reagor, look at his draft picks since Jalen Reagor.
Yeah. I think I have one better trade, but I think you're close.
Let me think. Let me go back. A die. Is it the O-line guy?
No. Well, the Carson Wentz trade, I think, is an honorable mention, obviously. That's I mean, what he turned Carson Wentz into was pretty incredible. The trade for Darius Slay was a big one. But there's one trade that I think truly changed the trajectory of this era of Eagle football.
Slay?
No. It's not a player, so it's kind of a confusing trade to remember.
Okay, let me hear it.
The 2022 draft, if you guys remember correctly, the Eagles had 2 picks in the first round. They had 16 and 19. They traded 16, 19, and a 6-rounder, 194, to the Saints. They got back number 18. So they gave up 16 and 19. They got back 18. And then they got back a 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 second-round pick. Now, hear me out. They took 16 and 19. With 18, what they got back, they traded it for A.J. Brown. With the first pick they got in 23, they drafted Jalen Carter. With the second-round pick they got in 2024, they drafted Cooper DeJean. So you took 16 and 19 and you turned it into A.J. Brown, Jalen Carter, and Cooper DeJean, and a litany of other picks, 101, 237, and one other late-round pick, who I don't know who they picked at 101 or 237 or what they ended up doing with those. But, I mean, they moved down a couple spots in the first round. They essentially traded one first-round pick for Carter and Coop. And they moved back a couple spots and traded that for A.J. Brown. I mean, that was a fucking finesse, dude.
Okay,
that was a finesse.
Let me go here with this one here for you. And let me ask you if you think this is in kind of in that room. So in 2021, when the Lions traded Matthew Stafford to the Rams, Jared Goff goes back, and in that process, they end up getting Jamison Williams, and they used their 2023 first-round pick to get Jahmyr Gibbs.
That was pretty good too. I mean, hey, the Carson Wentz trade was pretty good for the Eagles as well. You know, Twiz brought that up. I saw that in the chat. I did mention that. They got a pretty good heist for Carson Wentz, and you can make an argument, you know. So these are all the players that the Carson Wentz trade was tied to. It doesn't mean perfect, you know what I mean? Like it was tied to it. It doesn't mean it was exactly for it. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Jalix Hunt, and Jeremiah Trotter. Those are all the players that the Eagles acquired with the, you know, and remember, some of that's with that Saints pick because they got those 2 first-round picks and they used them to get Cooper Quignon, you know, or Cooper Carter and AJ. So that's how it's a part of it. But he got a haul back for Wentz too, considering what Wentz became.
Yeah, those are great picks. You know, I would say this, that would you not agree the Rams, the Lions, and the Eagles have been the best teams in the draft in the last 5 years?
The Rams have been exceptional. I mean, the Eagles drafted Cooper DeJean at 40 overall, and they thought they were going to lose him to the Rams, who jumped up and traded with the Panthers at 39. Well, the Rams selected a pretty good player too in Braden Fisk. Now, he's not a first-team All-Pro, so the Eagles got the better player there, or at least the early returns are he's the better player.
Yeah.
But the Rams have really drafted some incredible players. I mean, Jared Verse he's one of the best edge rushers in football. I mean, he's a top 5, top 10 edge rusher.
Remember what Vic said? Vic said they wanted him.
Yeah.
And they landed on Q.
Yeah. Ravens, that's a good one. KCA, Ravens. You know, the Cowboys normally in the past drafted well, but they haven't been drafting that well recently.
No. It's like,
yeah, I think that's a good three. That 3 you gave.
Lions, Rams, and the Eagles. Probably.
My problem with the Lions, like you brought that Lions trade, and I like the trade, but my problem with it is, and I know this is a perfect, like you can't really play it like this because they wouldn't have these players if they don't make that trade. But to me, the thing the Lions are missing is Matthew Stafford. Can you imagine the 2023 line or 2024 Lions with Matthew Stafford?
Yes.
They'd won. They probably would have knocked us off and won the damn Super Bowl.
Okay, here I'm going to show you this though. What Brad Holmes has done up there in his time up there.
Yeah, he's done well. Don't get me wrong. He's done very well.
Okay, so get this. Since 2021, Brad Holmes has gone out and brought in, off this Matthew Stafford deal, he's brought in Sam Laporta. He's traded for Jared Goff. He's brought in Jamison Williams. He's brought in Jahmyr Gibbs. He's also brought in Penei Sewell.
Oh, my goodness.
He's also brought in Brian Branch. I mean, he's really –
yeah. See, Fleming's
really
right. I mean, I can
there.
Say that they're missing Stafford, but you're right, Sills. They wouldn't be the Lions right now without those.
Without that Stafford deal.
Yeah,
I've never seen a trade where, guess what? Both kind of won, but like you said, here's the one thing that separates the Rams and the Eagles from the Lions. They've won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? The Rams and Eagles have won a Super Bowl, right? I mean,
hardware, baby. Yep.
Right? I mean, and that's where they've kind of failed. Let's do some of these supers, bro.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, here we go. Here's Walkel. We only have a couple today. What's up, Walkel? He says, hey, guys, you all are the best. Walkel, thank you, man. Looking forward to your coverage of the draft. It's going to be interesting, man, what they do in the draft.
Listen, you think they have no shot at getting Sadiq. I know you don't.
No, it's not that I don't think they have a shot. It's just I don't think that's what they're looking for. I don't think that's the player they're looking for at that spot.
ESPN today, that's where they're going. Eagles get Sadiq.
Did they mock him there?
Yep.
You know, get in line. There's like 20 of them that have mocked him there.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. 2 tight end set with you lose AJ, 2 tight end set.
Maybe. JD.
Hey, by the way, do you not agree? Your new OC, what was the new OC's biggest and could be biggest contribution? He worked with Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. All right, here's JD3. Short Sirianni has Sills flustered. Agreed.
Yeah, no. Leaders don't wear shorts. Not happening. No way. George Patton doesn't wear shorts when he goes into a battlefield. Fucking think, what are you, a Roman gladiator? I don't think so, Junior.
Here's JD3 again. JD, thanks for the supers, brother. So there's no need to fear about Manion when we have the next Lombardi and Sirianni. Sirianni owns the league in shorts.
It's become a deal now with shorts. Somebody wears
You
shorts.
made it one.
Yeah. Somebody wears shorts. Any crazy?
Here we go. Nothing big here, but what is this? Chinese money? Bin Lin, the co-founder and vice chairman of Xiaomi, Xiaomi, Xiaomi,
Sure.
is acquiring a 1% stake of the Miami Dolphins at a record-setting valuation of $12.5 billion.
Chinese guy?
I don't know. Bin Lin. His name is Bin Lin.
So some dude named Bin Laden now bought a 1% share of the Miami Dolphins. Okay.
Bin Lin. Yo, by the way, what is going on with this NBA player?
Okay. Well, Jaden.
You don't want to go into it?
No, I do. I did this morning on my radio show. I said, so let me ask you something here. So Chauncey Billups gets arrested for working with the mafia for running an illegal gambling scheme, and he gets arrested. He's still the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, right?
Yeah.
They don't fire him for conduct detrimental for running an illegal mafia gambling scam. But this guy has an opinion on Pride Month, and they let him go. Is it that freedom of religion?
100%. Ridiculous what the NBA has done. Ridiculous. I stand with Jaden Ivey, 100% top to bottom. I haven't even listened to as much as I should have on it, but I did read something right before I came on here, and I'm like, wait, what's going on with that situation?
Yeah.
I mean, the Alphabet Mafia, now runs the sports worlds? Now a man's not allowed to have a difference of beliefs.
And how's that conduct detrimental?
I mean, what a joke. What a joke. And they wonder why they're hemorrhaging in ratings and all sorts of bullshit like that.
Zander, get this. We now found out America doesn't hate hoop. They hate the NBA players because the ratings for the NCAA are off the charts. They're 10
do they even hate the players? They might just hate the damn league and the organizations that are running them.
Well, the players have a lot to do with that.
I don't know. I mean, the Jaden Ivey might be a perfect example that it's not the truth.
Bro, where's your union?
I mean, I don't even think that Jaden Ivey said anything controversial.
He didn't. He doesn't like the Pride Month thing. And so
but that's not what he said. He didn't
I
say
know. No.
That's not what he said.
He talks about like celebrating.
Yeah. The righteousness. He spoke about something that was clearly core to his religious beliefs. He never even shit on him. He never even said, don't do that. I mean, the media is ridiculous with this shit. But
well, ESPN, this. You want to know why nobody watches the NBA? It's right here. This stuff right here.
Well, I just said a little bit ago, I have no desire to even play their game. Well, this is exactly what I mean. We're an independent media company. I have no desire to operate like any of those idiots.
I have no interest. Wake me up in
Stand
June.
Strong, Jaden. I promise you that he will be provided for. I guarantee.
No, by the way, he's going to win his case. He's going to win his case in court.
Oh, he'll have that. He'll have deals coming his way in some other regard. Goodness will win.
I got two words.
That's a ridiculous sports story.
I got 2 words. Bud Light.
Yeah, well, there's plenty more than that, just two. But
all
right, I digress. I think we got all the supers.
All right, bro.
Rocksteady becomes a member. Thank you. Rock. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man.
All right, Big Z. Love you, man. We'll see you in the morning.
Love you, brother. I will catch you tomorrow. Later, dude.
You got it. That is Zander Krause. We're going to pay some bills here, my friends, with our friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason. Folks, I tell you, this company here, it was established over 25 years ago with John and his wife, Ultima Morgan, and they protect Americans coast to coast. This is exactly what they do with over $30 billion recovered. It is the easiest decision you'll ever make if you ever hurt at work. The family in Pennsylvania I talk about that was initially offered $650K. They ended up getting nearly $30 million in settlement. Family down in Florida was offered $350K. They ended up getting nearly $12 million in settlement. Go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pile Up 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
Had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Yeah, I hit on that Jaden Ivey thing today on my Tampa show. Conduct detrimental, it's in all our contracts. And it's a ability for organizations to void it in any way. Now, from what I understand, they got him from Detroit. And they shut him down earlier in the year. And I think basically it's a way of them getting out of his contract. That, remember, when you're an NBA guy, it's guaranteed dough. So the guy, if you go over and watch his Instagram, I was waiting for some sort of blasphemy about something. It was just kind of his philosophical beliefs on what he thought. And the Bulls come out, and Billy Donovan even said, we have to have a healthy work environment. Well, I think a healthy work environment is listening to people's opinions on everything, not having a set standard of beliefs. I think you got to respect one another's beliefs. We don't do that anymore. If you listen, you know the greatest thing that America gives us? America gives us the greatest to be an asshole, and guess what? To be different. You have a right to be an asshole in this country. You have a right to believe whatever you want. Now, here's where people get it wrong. You also have to understand freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of non-consequences. when you have freedom of speech, you can't go on somebody's platform or you can't go in somebody's office and just start barking something. They have that right to fire you too in a private company and to do whatever they feel because they have a set of standards that they set and they want all their employees. If you don't want to set by those standards or work in those standards, this is not a military draft. You don't have to be here. So if you want to have a political belief and you want to have freedom of speech comes with consequences. It's with consequences. If you say something like, I don't support Pride Month, you better have an understanding that there's going to be consequences with that. See, to me, I don't give a shit what you believe. I could care less. I don't judge a person on their religion, their politics, or their sexuality. I don't care. I got more shit to worry about in my life than those three things. I could care less who you're doing, who you're praying for, and who you vote for. I just don't care. You know, I remember during COVID, everybody was trying to talk to people like that asshole Howard Stern was telling people about the COVID shot. Me, at the end of the day, okay, I'm not going to tell somebody to get a shot or not get a shot. It's not my job. That's totally not my gig. Hey, I think you should go get a COVID shot because you know what? Here's something that I love that Dave Chappelle says, and I've stolen it. How far do you want me to change to make your life feel better about yourselves? Why do I have to change to make you feel better? I'm not doing that. That my life has no bearing on your life, on how you want to see things. Has no bearing. And I don't really care of those three things, what your opinions are. That's not going to change my opinion of you. Because I'm not going to gauge my friendship with you based on religion, politics, or sexuality. I'm just not. I gauge people on, you know what I do? One of the things, this is how I like look at people, and I always have. You know, what I hate being a follower. I hate that. And you know, probably one of the things for me that aggravates me about how Trump is covered is this. You've never met him. You've never spoken to him. You have no idea who he is. But yet people come in and go, I hate the guy. Have you ever met him? No. Have you ever worked with him? No. Do you know anybody that knows him? No. Well, how do you not like or like somebody or dislike somebody based off of television? Yeah, no. I look at people with relationships on who I talk to. I never take someone's opinion. That guy's an asshole. I've never gone this and went, oh, that guy's an asshole, so I'm not going to like. I've never done that. As a matter of fact, makes me want to know that guy more. Because if that person doesn't like him, I want to know, it's more of a reflection on the other guy that told me that. I don't judge people like that. I never have. I think it's because when you're on a football team, Zander, you're probably being on a hockey team. It's the same thing. Everyone's got a different way of looking at shit, man. Religion, sex, politics. That doesn't mean if you have a different opinion of me, I hate you or I can't be friends with you. That's so dumb. You know that thing where people do this? Well, I'm not going to go eat at Chick-fil-A because they are religious and they don't open up on Sundays. And to me, that's too political. Hey, screw that, man. They got a great sandwich. I like their fries. I like their food. That's not going to sway me. I never got that. Okay. I mean, I see people do this all the time. I mean, look, everybody who watches our show and everybody who comes in, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it all, and everybody comes in here. Listen, if you know what, sometimes I'm just talking shit, and you guys know this. Because if I didn't like you, I would block you. But Zander and I have a rule. If you come in here and you support us, that to me means more than you calling me an asshole. I mean, look at Sue. Sue comes in here every day. M. Reyes comes in here every day. Twiz. RC. All you guys. You come in here every day. If you don't think that I appreciate that, you're crazy. I do. I do appreciate it. Listen, I'm here for us to do a show. I talk to my folks that engage with me for a reason. I value you. I am not beholden to a team. I am not beholden to an ideology. I am beholden to being a broadcaster / sports dude that has been doing this for almost 40 years. I am not a slave to anybody. Just not. KCA, absolutely. Troll. You guys are definitely teaching me a little bit of the verbiage because okay? Okay? Yeah. But guess what? Most people are looking for responses from me because they like the responses, Bet. And so I think what people do is they give me a cattle prod and it gets me going. But I like that. I'm not offended. It is very hard to offend me because I offend everyone. How can you offend? Okay? How can I be offended when I offend, if you think I offend people? That's right. I do. So many people you know what? I'm going to show you something. And I'm going to give you guys a behind the curtain view of me. I want to make M. Reyes a personality on my show, like Angelo did on his shows. But I've been doing that forever because I believe in that. Sue, RCA, all of you guys. I want you to be a part of the program. Why wouldn't I want you to be? I have done that for 40 years. Tampa, nationally, Boston, New York, Miami. I've done that everywhere I've ever done a show. Somebody wants to be a part of the program, I'm going to make you part of the program. If you have and want to be on here every day and you support us and me, here, let me tell you, little guy, something. It's correct. Zander's right. My career is taking off again. My phone's ringing. I may be hosting a show on WFAN next week. If you told me that I would be hosting a show on WFAN in New York, potentially next week, I would have said, I have more faith that you'll find me with my head sewed to the carpet. Not going anywhere. Put too much equity in it, man. Too much backbone in. And I like to grow things. By the way, radio's not the future. This is. This is the future. This is totally the future. It's just not. Oh, yeah. No. My objective is eventually, again, look, I like being back on, and I won't lie. And and my radio show has quadrupled in ratings. Like they were doing O2s. I'm now doing like 4 shares, and I'm number 1 in my time slot in sports in Tampa. And I did that in a matter of September, October, November, December, January, February, March. I've done that in 7 months on a station that nobody ever listened to and hadn't had a local show in 5 years. And I'm already doing 4 shares, and I'm number 1 in my time slot, 10-1 Eastern time. Am I shocked? No, I've always done well. Wow, I've always done great. I mean, you know, people know me here, and then I got the job on Sports Grid because of this. Talking about A.J. Brown, you've been protecting your trade the whole time. Well, you got to believe in something. You're damn right. Oh, yeah. Put your feet on the ground. Let's go. Just do that bill paying again. I got to make sure we pay these bills here, man, to keep it going. Hey, the number 1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason is my friends at Morgan & Morgan. Folks, I promise you, the easiest decision you will ever make in your life is if you've ever been injured on the job. Do me a favor. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FORthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce. Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face. Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
as always. I look forward to that segment. I don't know why. Out of all the famous people we talked to, I love that segment, so we'll have that for you. Guys, I appreciate you very much. Please hit the like button. 2 to 6. Tomorrow, we'll see you on the flip side.